6 o'clock, good morning, live from the Circus Sports of the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Some NFL news at the owners' meeting in Arizona. The Cleveland Browns have withdrawn their proposal to trade draft selections up to 5 years in advance instead of the current 3 years. General Manager Andrew Berry said yesterday they accomplished what they wanted to, and just getting teams to talk about it. The Super Bowl is headed back to Las Vegas in 2029. It was announced yesterday. As for 2030, and Nashville's hopes to host, Peter O'Reilly, the NFL EVP of events, said that the Titans' controlling owner, Amy Adams Strunk, and President Burke Nihill both made a presentation about new Nissan Stadium, and options are on the table for Nashville to potentially host in 2030, but nothing is on the table just as of yet. The women's Final Four is set as their tournament is all chalk at a battle of the one seeds coming up this Friday in Phoenix, Arizona, to start a juggernaut matchup between South Carolina and UConn, and then Texas will take on UCLA in the late game. And Tennessee Vols have their football pro day today in Knoxville as quarterback Joey Aguilar, wide receiver Chris Brazo, and cornerbacks Jamar McCoy, Colton Hood, and others all will showcase their talents in front of NFL scouts today in Knoxville. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on your Tuesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Good morning and welcome in. 615-737-1045, the number. We stream it for you on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. In Knoxville today, Tennessee Football Pro Day for the NFL Draft. Wow. Also, the transfer portal about to open in hoops, and a big-time target is on campus. We'll talk with VolQuest's Austin Price about that at 7:20 this morning. Talk about the best overall players in this draft and the way you measure running back versus linebacker versus edge and the player that can have the biggest impact. Because Ramon Foster yesterday, Mike Borgonzi gave us a little hint, a little breadcrumb, if you will.
He did.
On the path to who will be putting on a new Titans hat.
First.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with the 4th overall pick. Good morning. How are we doing?
Man, we're good, man. Good morning. You got the haircut like we talked about last weekend, too. I'm just now noticing it for some odd reason.
Friday.
But today is good, man. Started the morning off pretty solid. It was a little bit warmer than I thought it was going to be this morning as well. I got on shorts with a long sleeve shirt, so that's fine for the early part of the day. But we're supposed to hit some 80s today, which, hey, I'll take it. Baseball yesterday evening, I did something that was super cool. All parents got to sign up for something. Wife and I ended up signing up for concession stands. Okay, it was interesting.
Are you just the one taking money and handing out things, or they got you on the grill? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't do the grill. It was a baseball game. You know, baseball don't have the biggest crowd, so fired up the grill. I fired up the grill, okay, and it would have been phenomenal. We had record sales.
I know it would have. That's why I asked.
Record sales. With that being said, though, we were selling pizza and, chips and snacks and stuff like that. I learned about a drink and how they consume it, too. Okay, not in a bad way, the kids. Every sport
that's
was
who
there.
They is?
Yeah, that's who they are. Okay,
they consume it.
Is it a suicide drink?
No, it's not a suicide drink. There's one particular flavor that every male and female athlete got in just big numbers yesterday.
Is it one of the Gatorades?
Orange.
Blue Powerade.
Yeah.
Blue Powerade.
I finally had to ask one of them.
That's probably my favorite.
I said, why y'all getting so many blue? And it was a girl athlete that was there at the time. I was like, why y'all getting so many blue Powerades? She was like, because it's goated. I said,
because it's goated. Okay.
Next. Next in line.
All right. Power ranking top 3 flavors of sports drinks. Go.
Ice cherry. Orange.
That's number 1?
Yes.
Oh.
Easy number 1.
That's a wild number 1.
Is that the white one?
It's white, yes.
That's the white one.
Okay.
Ice cherry, orange, and the light purple one, like Frost.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's a hot take.
The light
That's a
purple
very
one?
hot
Actually,
take.
I really like that one as well.
I don't hate it, but I
Orange
feel like
is
it
way
doesn't
down
get a
my
lot of
list.
love. Orange is way down the list.
Yeah, I don't like
Just
orange.
way
at all.
down the list.
The only orange I like is an actual orange. Other than that, I don't want to
Not
drink
even
orange. I don't want to taste
Fanta
orange.
or High C?
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
well, that's-
so many follow-up questions. Do you not like
Please.
creamsicle things?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
Justin.
What?
I don't. I do like Fanta.
What are you talking
though,
about?
Justin.
Or Sunkissed. But yeah, orange things, no, I'm out.
I'm with
The
you, Will.
occasional orange juice.
We can think you know
waterboard
somebody.
him. We could
Yeah.
waterboard
We could
him.
orange board him.
We could orange board him.
Orange
if you
Gatorade
want.
board him.
Absolutely.
That is a
don't think I would like
crazy,
that.
crazy take.
Blue would be not my number one.
Which blue?
Riptide.
Ooh, the ice. Frost.
The light blue or the
Frost.
darker blue?
The frost. The light blue.
Glacier Freeze is what you're looking
So
for.
the one I'm thinking about
That is
is
the correct answer. Glacier
Thirst
Freeze
Quencher
is the best flavor.
Riptide. Riptide is the one that I'm thinking of, the light purple one.
Yes, that one's really
That's
good.
not bad.
Yeah.
I like that
It's
one.
not great.
So
it's not
it's-
bad.
Ice cherry, ice, what is it? The Thirst Quencher Riptide, light purple, and
You can
then
never go
orange.
wrong with lemon lime.
Orange is in my
Couple
top
of-
three.
A couple of those are the right answer.
Yeller.
Couple
Old
of those
Yeller
are
is
orange.
always fantastic.
I'm going to go Glacier Freeze. These are in no particular order. I just feel like
okay.
I have a bunch of favorites. Glacier Freeze, give me lemon lime and orange. But what do y'all know about sour melon Powerade?
Never had.
Yes.
What do y'all know about sour
Never.
melon?
I've seen it.
Elite.
Yes.
Elite.
Yeah.
Absolute green. Just straight
Yeah.
up green Powerade.
Yeah.
Just all right. Justin's back in my good graces.
I've had that.
Elite
I've had
flavor
that, like
of
the
sports
sour
drink.
green apple ones before.
I'm not going that far. Green Powerade, not Gatorade. Powerade.
Powerade.
Sour melon Powerade.
You ever
I
had
didn't-
kiwi strawberry.
I would go to a no. You're changing it again.
Man, these are good
Let
now.
me just talk about sour melon Powerade for a moment. It's got like a saltiness to it. Oh my gosh! Man, like I would go to a flow state after runs in high school and college when I had sour melon Powerade.
Hold up. So I've never had that. So have you seen the green cucumber ish Gatorade
that one's
too?
terrible.
I have not.
I haven't. I didn't know if you had dove deep
have
into
not.
All right, here's
those
something you're about to
waters.
learn about
Cucumber?
me. I hate
Yeah.
cucumber.
I do too.
Do
I'm with
y'all?
you on that.
So y'all don't like Mediterranean
Well,
food?
not.
No, I love
I
Mediterranean.
didn't say
Just
that.
Take out the cucumber.
I will just take out the cucumbers. yes.
Straight up.
Here, I'll replace the olives with I'll replace the cucumbers with more olives.
They're
How about
pickles soaked in sadness.
Oh, come on, man.
Pickles soaked in death.
No.
that? Well, you don't like pickles?
No, I don't like pickles.
Oh,
I
see,
don't like
love
pickles on my
I like
sandwich,
fried
but I
pickles,
like pickles.
but I'll eat anything fried.
I love pickles. I hate cucumbers. Like, if you don't pickle it, then I don't want to eat it.
Any other wild food takes we want to throw out today before we talk about Mike Borgonzi, what he said yesterday? to Understanders?
Cucumbers are elite. That's
What's
what I
elite
want to
about
add
them? It
about
has
it.
no flavor.
You can eat as many as you want to, and it don't affect your diet.
But
Like,
what
let's start there.
Usually, if I'm going to eat as many as I want of something,
It's
it
French
tastes good.
fries. Yeah, it's French fries. I'm with you, but like I enjoy an awesome. Okay, goated like snack. You ready for it? Okay, cucumbers, red cherry tomatoes, little feta, and like balsamic dressing.
That's not bad.
friggin'
that's not
just
bad.
get rid of
the
with some red
cucumbers.
onions in it. Oh my gosh!
Everything sounds great until you started off with cucumbers.
And just if you mix a cucumber in with other things, it's
You
not
know-
that bad.
Okay.
It's just I'm not going to pop in a cucumber and be like, delicious.
I don't want to taste it at all. If I taste it, I will literally just throw it away.
I'll eat sliced cucumbers like it's nothing. That and tomatoes, I've gotten away from tomatoes, but legitimately more so cucumbers, they getting took now.
Okay, so now I'll take a tomato, put a little salt on it, and I'll just eat the tomato.
Can't
just
do
like
it
that.
as much as
Just
I
like
used
that.
to.
Okay.
I'll eat a tomato like an apple.
But in case you all were still wondering, I don't know if it was because of the options they had at the concession stand or not, but Blue Powerade from one of the young athletes is
back.
goated.
Okay.
Just so you know.
I had that so much at Tennessee in the athletic dining hall that I've not really had it as much since. Actually, no, that was even high school. We had Blue Powerade in high school
I don't even.
for lunch, and I literally had it every single day.
Blue Powerade.
And I do mean literally every single day.
literally every single day.
Yeah.
It was
They
never.
didn't have soft drinks. Like it was like
Yeah.
Powerade, water, lemonade, or like tea or something.
You
like
said
that.
at UT?
Or, no, this was high school.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think we had tea. It was just like Powerade or water most days.
Powerade or water.
Always had Powerade.
Which is crazy because like Powerade was never in the rotation. Like in high school or anything. It was that doggone Frost Riptide that got me. I was Gatorade. Maybe I was just bougie and brand aware. I don't know what it was. I always thought when I did have a Powerade, it was sweeter.
Yeah, there's a lot of sugar in them.
No, like significantly sweeter than Powerade. Than Gatorade, I thought.
I think it's about the same.
You think so?
I drink the zeros if I'm going to drink one.
So do the athletes of Tennessee now.
Yes, absolutely. And we're back.
We are back. Who's in the rotation of 4 for the Titans? Yesterday, Easton Freeze with a couple good questions for Mike Borgonzi's availability at NFL owners meetings. And 2 players probably had their stocks go up just a little bit. Easton writes at a2csports.com/Nashville. I asked Mike Borgonzi how he parses out better players at devalued positions versus players at premium positions that aren't quite at the same level of master. He says, Mike Borgonzi, some of those guys that have the same grade of premium positions, quarterbacks, tackles, I always come back to say for us where we're at right now, we want to take the best player available right now. Depends on your roster construction as well, but I would say where we're at, we are taking the best player available. Easton follows up, says, so you're not paying attention to positional value, just getting the best football player? Borgonzi responds, it depends. Everybody has different opinions on positional value, but yeah. Easton follows up one more time. If a guy in your mind is far and away a better player than another guy, you don't really care what position they play. Borgonzi one final time, quote, we're taking the best football player. Okay. End quote, Ramon.
Okay. Who?
So should I get Jeremiah Love jerseys now? Do we think he's going to wear 4? Do we want white or light blue? What are we thinking?
You can get them, and you can get the jersey now. We can start predicting the number and just give them 3 letters of the last name.
I'm mostly
LOV.
Kidding because the smokescreen season is alive and well. But how significant of an answer and a give and take is that from Mike Borgonzi?
It just speaks about how his mindset is as a GM. Is to always never give a true, transparent answer. The best player in the draft, could be to them. It's 5 different voices in the room that are having this conversation amongst staff. That's the other part about this conversation is, yes, it's Mike Borgonzi's job to pick this, to take the credit or to get ridiculed if this pick doesn't work out because you're the GM. But it's 5, 6, 12 different voices in a room that are standing on the table to vouch for one. You will take the majority when it boils down to it. And I'm interested to see what does Robert Saleh think the best player available is versus Mike Borgonzi versus all of the scouts, Reggie McKenzie in the room.
Or what does Brian Daboll think? Because a lot of the offense has been built in his offense's image.
Well, this is very true. And of course, I don't think you hurt a thing if you still have Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears in the room, too, as well. If you do go after Jeremiah Love, although I'm interested to see what happens if they do take Jeremiah Love. It just screws over Tony. I'll just throw that over right now.
Maybe. I don't think it has to.
I'm just speaking about him being picked up by another team at this point in his career in the offseason.
I don't know. Doesn't the running back market kind of go a little bit differently?
But he would, in my opinion, go into a starter role still. Considering he's leaving one now, you kind of take that away from him by waiting to release for so long.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You don't have to
It feels like even in that case, it's an unfortunate side effect of the situation. And
no doubt.
Being positive, you have the ability to draft Love. I still think there's a world where you have both of them.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not opposed to it, and it's probably the best thing for Jeremiah Love since he's been a shared reps back anyway. But somebody numbers are going to get decreased, and that's where Tajay comes into play. But, Will, these are champagne problems. Having that much of talent in one room, very much champagne problems on top of Julius Chestnut being there as well. So there you have it.
Talk more about that as the morning goes. Live from the 104.5 The Zone's Circa Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circa Sports at Kentucky Downs. More NFL headlines from owners' meetings, including the Titans' future of potentially hosting a Super Bowl after this. Kicking off the show on your Tuesday morning edition of Ramon and Will, 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling. At Ramon and Will on Twitter. Ramon waving to the 104.5 The Zone TV cameras. Have you ever been like, I need to match a face with a name? Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We probably have so many people that have never even tried it out. They're just in their cars. So if you get to a red light, pop it on, hit the subscribe button, and we appreciate you in advance.
And we can do a Twitter Tuesday follow, too, by the way, at Ramon Foster on Twitter.
At Will_Bowling.
You know what I'm saying? Hawk, what's up? Go and throw yours out there, Hawk.
At JHawkins_20.
Hey, now.
Hey.
Look at that. We're hitting all the socials. And listen, if they don't have YouTube or anti-YouTube, they can just click on our profiles and hit the link there as well.
So at NFL owners meetings, we have more details on future Super Bowls. Las Vegas will host Super Bowl 63 in 2029 at Allegiant Stadium. It's the second time they've had it in Vegas, as they were a first-time Super Bowl host city in 2024. Peter O'Reilly is the NFL EVP of Events, International, and Club Business, and talked at owners' meetings about what that means for Nashville's future, saying, obviously, we had heads down for the Super Bowl in 2029. Now we wake up tomorrow morning, meaning today, and think about 2030 in that process. We will move on that process pretty quickly over this next stretch, but nothing to report. Obviously, we're excited about Nashville as a city and the new stadium, but nothing to specifically talk about in terms of 2030. O'Reilly said that Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill and controlling owner Amy Adams Strunk made an impressive large group presentation at NFL owners meetings on Monday morning, yesterday, about the stadium and Nashville. Saying, quote, they showcased the new Nissan Stadium and that transformation of the East Bank. It had nothing to do with Super Bowl, but it was a great opportunity for them to show the full membership how transformational that project is on the East Bank. We are probably the most prolific new stadium and renovation period in the league in a long time, and the Nashville Stadium was the one that was chosen to speak in there, and Amy and Burke spoke. 2030, Ramon, appears to be the target of maybe the earliest now. Well, not maybe, definitely the earliest the Titans could host a Super Bowl.
I'd book it. If I could bet on it, I would. I would say go ahead and get your walking shoes together. Go ahead and get your merch and potentially even Airbnb your houses too. If with all the people that'll be coming into town, that's going to be a big show. I used to wonder why guys used to talk so much about the Super Bowl. I used to think to myself, it's just a big game. Like there's nothing much. And then I played in one. I've actually hadn't gone to one since I played in it. And this was all the way back in 2011, basically. And I can only imagine how big it is now. When I tell you guys that this is a big deal as far as when the NFL uses your city as a host city, when you have this amount of people that come into your city that want to party, want to see it, want to spend money, if they do get it in 2030, and I think they will, considering that was dropped in this statement by Peter O'Reilly, it could change Nashville. It legitimately could. I know Nashville has already had the draft and showed the world what you can do with this one, but this is like the world stage of not just the United States consuming this. This is Mexicans, Canadians, people from other countries flying in for the Super Bowl.
Australians.
Just from Europe.
Halfway sarcastic on that one.
It legitimately is everybody who is anybody shows up to the NFL Super Bowl. And I don't we trash the NFL all you want to. Nobody does it better, and I'm sorry. Not even close. March Madness is cool.
I've been to one for Radio Row in Los Angeles when I went with 3HL out there for the Bengals and Rams Super Bowl.
Yeah, you did.
I think Nashville is going to be a really good city just for the functionality of practice, of centrally located hotels, of a convention center that is walkable to the stadium that I imagine would be used for Radio Row and for all of the different media things that go on and press conferences and things like that. The fact that you can walk in a perfect world in this city from a lot of media event headquarters to the stadium is going to have a lot of media members advocating for and pushing for Nashville to not only get one, but two, but three, but multiple Super Bowls. I do think it's interesting how Vegas has already come back around.
I get it.
A 5-year stretch from 2024 to 2029. The Titans are entering the Super Bowl hosting sweepstakes at a time where many other teams are starting to get in on the action as well. That's Chicago, that's Cleveland, that's Denver down the road, that's Washington, D.C. down the road, that's Jacksonville even putting their hat into the ring.
Like, it was the worst one ever, though. The Jacksonville.
The worst what ever?
Super Bowl hosting ever was the Jacksonville one.
Oh, I don't. When was the last time they hosted a Super Bowl?
And that's why. Because apparently, well, we've talked about it before. I'm going to let you get back to your point. But the conversation I've heard around Jacksonville's being so bad is because the city is huge. It's spread out everywhere.
Spread out.
Like, I don't think y'all understand. Like, it can take you an hour and you'll still be in Jacksonville driving across town. Like, that's how big Jacksonville is. And so they brought in boat hotels. They ended up having like boat tails, exactly. And they didn't have enough rooms. And apparently there was a lot of issues on the boats that were surrounding people staying at the Super Bowl. There just wasn't enough attractions at the time as well, because it's a warm city place. You got to think it's one of the Florida cities that doesn't host the Super Bowl. It continually goes back to Miami and Tampa. And nobody chooses to go back to Jacksonville. It's because they did a terrible job, from my understanding and what I was told about it for people that went to it, of actually hosting and harboring people as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so
fair enough.
Think about it. Jacksonville's never had another one.
2005.
It was bad.
Yeah. Patriots, Eagles.
Well, when they do put the canopy over their new one and they futurize their new stadium, they'll get it. But the point being that I don't know how quickly the Titans will be able to go from a first one to a second one, considering how many other teams are kind of entering the market. But I do think it is good news for Nashville that Vegas got another opportunity to host so quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, come on. Like, I get Vegas. You mentioned Vegas and just the other part too. That their entertainment district needs a lot of money coming into it. They're continually building another stadium. Might mess around and get a basketball team or something too. Like, they got a lot going on in Vegas.
And baseball.
Well, that's what it was. Baseball.
And they could get basketball eventually too. I don't doubt it.
It's the perfect weather. It's the perfect setup to me. I'd much rather fly, and it sounds crazy saying this, I'd much rather just fly to Vegas than to fly all the way to L.A. And then I'm also saving in on a little bit of the money, too, because I don't have the California tax that's involved in it as well. Sure. They already get all the hotels. As cheap as I've heard it is to go and have fun in Vegas right now, too, hotel rooms are plentiful. You can go Old City. You can be right on the Strip as well. Why do I know so much about Vegas this morning? What I'm saying is, it just makes sense. But it's crazy because the NFL is asking guys not to be involved in gambling houses and sports books and stuff like that, but also hosting the Super Bowl in the biggest entrapment city in all of NFL cities.
It's exactly right. It's the world we live in sports in 2026. A fairly centrally located stadium there in Vegas, too.
Is it?
With where Allegiant Stadium is located. It's not far away.
I've yet to go.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it's a really cool place. Really cool stadium. One of my favorites we went to this year.
Was it really? Mm-hmm. Is it air conditioned like SoFi? It is.
Yeah, it's very similar. It is probably the closest in terms of the design company, in terms of the translucent roof, and a lot of the ways that it's set up. It's maybe the closest comparison I could make to what new Nissan Stadium is going to look like.
Okay.
But still very different. The roof, though, and the way the ceiling is, the way the natural light comes in, and you kind of feel like you're outside, but you're in an enclosed stadium. That's kind of the vibe you're going to get in new Nissan.
Quick question.
Yeah.
You're from here. I live here. Hawk, you're from here, and also in the studio with us. Young Zach is back there, too. Real question, though, legitimately. What are celebrities doing in Nashville?
I mean,
Broadway.
I don't think celebrities are going on Broadway.
Okay.
Unless you're a country music singer that has your name on one of those bars and you're doing like a random set there. But.
Right. Because I'm thinking of like the draft in 2019. I'm trying to think to myself, okay, where were celebrities going? And everybody, like, to the point, like, they embraced Nashville and did rooftops and Broadway as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing appearances at things, then you're going to the different stages, to the different, places the NFL is set up. I mean, I think of Nashville more as a place where celebrities come to live.
Yeah.
Because, A, it's financially sensible in a lot of ways, not to get, too deep in the weeds in that. B, you're not going to be bothered. Like, this is a town that doesn't totally bother celebrities because in a lot of ways, we are used to people that we recognize walking around and just not really, accosting them.
Yeah. Jeremy put it in the chat. Not sure if he was speaking about Nashville. He's got 2-night max city. Is Nashville for the Super Bowl. And I think most people, of course, the big celebrities, they'll fly in private and fly right back out. They'll probably stay at the Four Seasons.
You said that about Vegas.
That was Vegas?
Yeah.
No, Vegas is...
Vegas is overrated and way too expensive. 2-night town at most.
It's a 4-night city. Thursday, 3-night.
If you're winning, it could be a 5 or 6 night town. If you're losing, it could be a 1-night town.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I only bring it up because I will say this selfishly from my standpoint. I'm a middle-aged guy in my 40s now. There needs to be, I think, just a few more lounges type places where it's attractive for people to come in and want to spend money at an attractive looking place. I don't think there's a...
You think we have enough of those?
Nashville doesn't have like a big nightclub type of bar. Like they have bars that have big spaces with loud music, but there's no we don't have a club here, if that makes sense to you.
The different
club culture.
The different teams that would be playing in the Super Bowl would be good.
Well, yeah, this is very true.
Fantastic.
But there will be, I'm just looking at the other side of it and just being okay, what if somebody wants to go in and have bottle service and,
there
all
are
of
plenty
these
of places that can do that.
You can do that
plenty
at Broadway.
of places.
Is there?
Yes.
Well, see, I ain't been out like that to see that.
Because we're locals.
Oh, because we're
But
locals.
those places aren't for us.
I'm just
in a lot of
wondering.
ways.
You think about Atlanta, Miami, boom, entertainment's already a part of it.
And we're never going to be that.
No, I was just wondering, by 2030, is there a lane somewhere
Probably, yeah.
where somebody's going to attempt to open up a
It's
big
only
place?
going to get bigger.
I know, but woo.
Only going to get bigger.
Party
The
and
Super Bowl
good.
is confirmed to Nashville. You know that they will expand in some areas to make it more inhabitable, more so than it already is.
We could already
make
inhabit it. Ramon just wants people to inhabit clubs.
That's what I'm saying. They'll make it more attractive in
They'll
certain
make it more
areas.
attractive. Yeah, and it'll speak for itself.
It's just like the East Bank. As that grows, everything else will grow as well.
So the NFL is yet to pick a date for Super Bowl 62 in Atlanta. That game is in less than 23 months. Pro Football Talk has reported that the absence of a specific date is directly tied to the possibility that the NFL will move to an 18-game schedule by 2027. NFL Executive VP Peter O'Reilly downplayed that yesterday, saying, "This is not unique to not have announced a Super Bowl date for Atlanta. We've done that around this horizon in the past, so there's not a lot to necessarily read into that." I don't know about all that. Obviously, important flexibility, whether that has to do with future scheduling changes or otherwise. But there's nothing unique about this moment in time in terms of scheduling. We've always had that flexibility going back decades. But then why do you say the part about whether that has to do with future scheduling changes or otherwise? So under the current formula of 17 games and 1 bye, the first week landing on the weekend after Labor Day, it'd be easy. It'd be February 13th, 2028 would be the Atlanta Super Bowl for 62. With 18 games and 1 bye, it would be February 20th. With 18 games and 2 byes, it would be the 27th. 18 games, 2 byes, and the decision to return to Labor Day weekend, it would be the 20th. That would be President's Day weekend. So when will a date be picked? Peter O'Reilly says it's rare that you'd get into the season before, so not the season of the Super Bowl, but into that season before without having that date. So that gives you a range. Essentially giving a soft deadline for by the beginning of week 1 of the 2026 season, we'll probably know whether or not, A, the Super Bowl is going to be the 13th or the 20th, which means it sounds like we're going to know either way whether we're sticking with 6 or with 17 or going up to 18 by the beginning of this upcoming football season.
As being part of the last CBA negotiation, 2027 was the year. We knew we had about 7 years before this option that the league had and we had to agree upon as a union gave to the league. 2027 was the year. this was part of pushing that, raising the floor up as far as salaries and stuff like that, and the other benefits that went to the pre-93s. What I mean is players that played before 1993s, you ended up going back in retro and giving them money based upon what the league had grown to and what they deserved to be paid out as well. And that was an option that the league had asked for as well, is the adjustment of the 18-man or 18-game season in 2027. So that door opens in, and it gives you another 3 years before the CBA is up in 2030 as well, which, again, negotiations start as far as the NFLPA and the NFL for about 3 years out. That's when the union starts telling players, hey, this is on the horizon. It's just that this 18th game, the option for it was already written into it by the league and by the union. So this is, I don't want to speak in absolutes, but this is probably going to happen.
Colts general manager Chris Ballard speaking with reporters in owners' meetings, media circles, says we've had discussions with teams on Anthony Richardson, and we'll see how that works out. But it'd say there's definitely a scenario where he could remain with Indianapolis this season. Says we'll see how it works out over time. We've had some discussions with teams. Nothing's come to fruition. I'm proud of his development, Chris Ballard says, on Anthony Richardson. His growth, he's had some bad luck. We've seen it in this league. Sometimes things don't work out one place and they become good at the next. We'll see here over the next month how that ends up working out with Anthony. Is there a team that makes the most sense for Anthony Richardson at this point, or does it make more sense for him to just stay in Indy?
Stay in Indy at this point. If he leaves Indianapolis as it stands right now, he's a career backup moving forward is the way I look at it. He hadn't played enough, I don't think, to grow as an NFL quarterback, and that's his issue. Like, Chris Ballard is right. Like, sometimes bad injuries get you. He had the eye thing. He had the collarbone situation as well. It is bad luck. But he also doesn't help himself because his league is predicated on your tape. If your tape isn't there and you go somewhere else and you never get a shot, this is Kenny Pickett 2.0 to me. Like, only difference is this is a top 10 pick at quarterback.
Top 5 pick.
That right there, that's a tough place to be at. Indianapolis and Chris Ballard saying this don't make sense because they're dealing with this right now, specifically with Daniel Jones. I'm not saying it can't work out for him, but for Anthony Richardson, who's shown zero growth as an NFL quarterback and hardly any good moments for a long stretch of time, he's closer to a one-year type quarterback moving forward.
Riley Leonard and Seth Hennigan are the other two quarterbacks on the Indianapolis Colts depth chart. Of course, all behind the returning from injury Daniel Jones. It just kind of feels like the music is winding down and the chairs are taken. Atlanta has Tua. Minnesota has Kyler Murray. Arizona, I think, is one that's interesting with Mike LaFleur, with Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew there, and just make it the island of misfit backup quarterbacks.
Brother.
The same way Cleveland has.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is an interesting one. But how do you feel about Will Howard? Would you rather have Will Howard or Anthony Richardson?
Talking to a guy last night about the role with Will Howard. To me, he's old enough. Number one, he's got the size and build for what Pittsburgh football is all about. He won't be asked to do much, and he's already got weapons there. He's a gunslinger to me. Anthony Richardson was a big athlete that threw the football with a heck of a cannon arm. Like, I couldn't tell you much of his quarterback traits other than he's a dual threat. I'd roll with Will Howard, and if Pittsburgh have a hard reset, I think it's good for their organization as well instead of retreading it over. They seem to be high on him, Will Howard, right now.
What I would do if I was Indy in a perfect world is make a deal with San Francisco that gives you Mac Jones in return.
San Francisco give you Mac Jones. I'm not opposed to it.
I mean, the problem is San Francisco is probably opposed to it, but they would get a pretty solid draft pick in return. If you gave Anthony Richardson and a 4 for Mac Jones.
Anthony Richardson and a 4.
Does that deal make sense for both sides?
It's too rich for Mac Jones for my liking.
Have you seen the reports on what they want for him, though?
Who? Mac
San
Jones?
Francisco.
No,
Yes.
I missed these reports. Mac Jones got a market?
Yes. Let me look this up real quick
now,
just to be
Will.
100% sure.
So this is why you find it. This is also, I guess, the issue that people are running into with young quarterbacks coming into the league, too.
Second round pick is their trade value for Mac Jones. Yeah.
Titans.
Rappaport.
If you don't get anything crazy for Will Levis, we're going to have a problem.
Well, Will Levis isn't half the quarterback, respectfully, to Mac Jones is. Mac Jones is a Pro Bowler. So is Shedeur Sanders. I'm kidding.
No, exactly.
No, I'm joking
so
on
is
that
Snoop
part.
Huntley, too. Yeah.
I'm joking on that part at least. But no, Mac Jones was
serious.
solid last season in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I don't know if San Fran would want to do that deal, but I just don't think there's a logical fit for Anthony Richardson beyond just kind of being the Colts insurance policy behind Daniel Jones.
He's never had time to grow. And you don't know what he looks like in 17 games
He's
for
had
one
chances.
particular team.
He just wasn't good.
But it's the injuries.
It's partly it. But also just throwing it to the other team.
That's true. But also, I mean, rookie quarterbacks have their issues too. I'm giving grace to it because we gave grace to Cam. Cam didn't have the greatest rookie year either. And, like, the way you got to look at it is he's never had the second-year growth period for himself.
Cam has just had more time on task as a college quarterback that gives you way more hope about his maturation.
That's true, too.
He's starting from a much more stable position. Coming up, Tennessee basketball is hosting a transfer portal player with Nashville ties who I'm very familiar with and excited to talk more about coming up next. Hey, it's Will Boulding. Are you dealing with flickering lights, faulty outlets, or a circuit that won't stay on at home? Well, Lee Company has your back. Lee Company's award-winning team of electricians, they handle it all. From routine repairs and fixture upgrades to whole home generators, available 24/7. Keep your home efficient and safe by contacting Lee Company online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for professional electrical service from the company that has 80-plus years of experience serving Middle Tennessee. Lee Company's been trusted since 1944, available 24/7, a multi-award-winning great place to work with 14 community locations here in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. They take care of your HVAC, your plumbing, your electrical systems. They're going to keep your home running the way that it is supposed to. So check them out online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Wrapping up hour one on Ramon and Will. Streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Belmont transfer guard Tyler Lundblade is visiting Tennessee basketball this week. VolQuest with the report. Multiple outlets with the reporting on this. The Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year this past season for the Belmont Bruins, who averaged 15.6 points per game, shooting 40.6% on threes. Tyler Lundblade, Ramon, was one of 17 players to make more than 100 threes this past season. Mm-hmm. He made 115. He made 104 and led the nation by hitting 48% from three. In the 2024-25 season, he is 6'5". And how about this? Led the nation in free throw percentage. Ooh. Hitting 93% of his free throws this season after hitting 94% the year before. Started his career at SMU as a walk-on, transferred to TCU for the following 2 seasons. The Dallas, Texas native has been at Belmont in the last 2 years. It has 1 year of eligibility remaining. Sounds like Tennessee's in a pretty good spot here as well.
I hope so, man. Need a dead-eye shooter like that. So I heard our resident basketball expert, Ron Slay, speaking about him yesterday and Belmont and what Casey Alexander was able to do with those guys, too. And he and Bab was telling a story. Ron and Babs were telling a story about how Coach Casey Alexander would have competitions in practice, shooting competitions. Said it got so bad and so slanted in Tyler Lundblade's favor that he shot 80 straight shots in a row. No misses. Like they just ended it. 80 straight shots made in a row. Will, those are odds. Those are just odds that are strongly in your favor if you have an offense that can set you up. Now, here's the other part, though, too. Casey Alexander doesn't get that job if you don't have these types of players and also continually develop. You still have to say a former walk-on into this role that he turned into now, to where he's probably going to cash in a big NIL at this point. These are the type of players that you want. I feel like going to get Chaz Lanier from, where was it, North Florida University, if I'm not mistaken.
The Ospreys of North Florida, that's right.
You have to find these guys. This is where age plays a part in it, number one, beautifully for your team, and also just the experience of letting somebody else develop them, and then you come swoop in late for a 1-year rental. This is just the way. He's got the size, he's got the skill set for it, and it fits what this offense needs if Rick Barnes and his crew can cash in on it.
So I've watched a lot of Tyler Lundblade doing sidelines for Belmont the past few seasons and for a while, and I don't think you're going to find a better sharpshooter in the portal. This guy can catch and shoot. He can shoot off the bounce. He'll come quickly off of screens and curls off the ball, and he has got as quick of a release as anyone I've ever seen or been around in the sport. I love the fit. I love the fit as a person.
Yeah.
I think there is a big overlap in the kind of player Casey Alexander has recruited, the kind of person Casey Alexander has recruited, and the kind of player that Rick Barnes likes. But above anything, I mean, he's 6'5", good size for a shooting guard, and he is just a really good fit for what Rick Barnes runs at half-court sets. Those pin downs you're going to run on the baseline, those curl actions where you can run, you're essentially running choice routes on these things where you can run tight right around the screener off the ball for a mid-range shot. You can run straight to the corner off of a screen. You've got so many different ways that Rick Barnes likes to scheme up open jump shots, whether that's 15-footers, whether that's threes, whether that's then fake the pass, the screener's going to roll to the basket, and it's an alley-oop lob, which they've thrown so many of to Felix Akpara, who, of course, is gone now. The ability to just catch and shoot and fire quickly is significant. I mean, you are talking about a Chaz Lanier kind of shooter in Tyler Lundblade, who I think may even shoot a couple more threes and maybe a little less twos than what Chaz did. Like, this is a three-point specialist that in a lot of ways is going to be a role player, in a lot of ways is going to be a starter. What I think is really significant, though, too, is just the ability of him to get his shot off when defended as closely as he was this past season, because after he shot 48% from three 2 seasons ago, this past year, he was defended like the way Tennessee defended Momcilovic for Iowa State.
Yeah.
That's how everyone was defending Tyler Lundblade in the Valley this past season. Still the Missouri Valley Player of the Year.
I was going to say, so I either need Bishop Boswell also to get better with his shot, or Amari Evans as well. Like, as far as if he's going to be double teamed or they're going to put their premier defensive player on if the Vols get him, like, somebody else have to increase their shooting percentages as way I think Zakai Ziegler did in his last year as well. You remember how Zakai got better as a three-point shooter?
Mm-hmm.
I need to see that from Bishop Boswell in some capacity, too.
Well,
it can't just be one guy.
And in this case, too, it would make more sense for Lundblade to be your three-point specialist because he's not the guy that's going to bring the ball up the floor.
Okay.
Jacoby Gillespie was this team's best three-point shooter last year, and a lot of the moments where he was able to get his shot off was when someone else had the ball in their hands, and then he was the running those curls around a screen or different kinds of actions to get him schemed open for a shot. I love the fit.
Yeah.
I really love the fit. So sounds like Tennessee's in a good spot. We'll talk with Austin Price in about a half hour about it and the next steps of it, but one to monitor.
Yeah.
And he is a grad transfer, so he is able to go ahead and take a visit. The window really opens after the national championship game. So since he is a graduate transfer, he gets a little bit of a head start. So he officially entered the portal March 23rd, allowed him to enter the portal before it opens April 7th. There is a dead period that runs April 2nd to 9th. And he is making the visit before that dead period, which gives Tennessee a really early opportunity to go ahead and get that done or make a full court press, no pun intended, with other teams not as able to counter, which is good. So we'll see where it goes. Coming up, Lions head coach Dan Campbell talks about the value Jahmyr Gibbs brought to Detroit, which is important for the Titans as they value maybe someone that's pretty similar to Jahmyr Gibbs and Jeremiah Love. You'll hear what he had to say next.
7:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Main Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Some NFL news at the owners' meeting in Arizona. The Cleveland Browns have withdrawn their proposal to trade draft selections up to 5 years in advance instead of the current 3 years. General Manager Andrew Berry said yesterday that they accomplished what they wanted to, and just getting teams to talk about it. Also, the Super Bowl is headed back to Las Vegas in 2029. It was announced yesterday. As for 2030 and Nashville's hopes to host, Peter O'Reilly, the NFL EVP of events, said the Titans' controlling owner, Amy Adams Strunk, and President Burke Nihill made a presentation about new Nissan Stadium, and options are on the table for Nashville to possibly host coming up in 2030. Also, the women's Final Four is set as their tournament is all chalk. A battle of one seeds coming up this Friday in Phoenix, Arizona to start on Friday evening, a juggernaut matchup between South Carolina and UConn, and then Texas will take on UCLA in the late game. And coming up today, Tennessee Vols football have their pro day in Knoxville as Joey Aguilar, Chris Brazzell, Jamad McCoy, Colton Hood, as well as others will showcase their talents in front of NFL scouts hoping to be drafted. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 of the program on Tuesday mornings, Ramon and Will. Glad you're with us, whether you're making a commute on I-65, 440, I-24, or just from the bedroom to the home office. We're glad you decided to commute with us. 615-737-1045, the number. Streaming live for you on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We'll talk with Austin Price for an early visit with him. Coming up here in 15 minutes, Tennessee Pro Day taking place today. So we will get him in here in hour 2 with lots to discuss in Knoxville as always. Dan Campbell talked about the value Jahmyr Gibbs brought to Detroit. This courtesy of Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports doing great work at NFL owners meetings. And Dan Campbell talked so glowingly about Jahmyr Gibbs that he's making me even more confident about the value Jeremiah Love could bring Ramon, because Dan Campbell uses the same words in this answer that we have used and many others have used about Jeremiah Love as a potential option with the 4th overall pick. This is Lions head coach Dan Campbell.
That's here.
Gibbs, we didn't view Gibbs as a runner. He was a weapon. You know, he was a weapon, man. He was it's a little bit like Jamo. Like we didn't necessarily view Jamo as a true receiver. We saw more weaponry. So a lot of versatility, things you can do. And so that's why we felt like Gibbs, man, this guy is going to explode. Like, yes, he's a runner. He can run all schemes. He can run inside, outside, pin and pull, the perimeters. But he can be lethal out of the backfield. And we're not even there yet. We feel like this guy can play some receiver. You know, we tried to tinker with some stuff last year. He really grew. But I think we're just scratching the surface of some of that. He's a mismatch piece, man, and he's dynamic, and he's a difference maker.
So from a process,
they don't come around often
in the draft. From a process standpoint, there's no regret about taking a guy like that early.
Yeah. No, we'd have taken him earlier. We would have taken him earlier. So. Yeah.
Lions head coach Dan Campbell talking about the prospect who has been compared to Jeremiah Love by Mike Borgonzi.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I personally have to scoff at it just a little bit. Because, you know, the Detroit Lions also have first to make that engine go. They have a really good offensive line as well. That goes without saying. The receiver part of it plays into the offensive line and quarterback too. So there's a lot of things, in my opinion, a few things that have to align. And no, I'm not against Jeremiah Love being here, and I do agree with what Jeremiah Love is as a player. He is a weapon. I've personally blocked, watched, been cool with a weapon in the name of Le'Veon Bell. To me, one of the first guys to ever do it like this when it comes down to running the football at a high volume and being able to catch out of the backfield. We knew this. If we ended up going 50 protection, which is empty, we would do this. 5-man protection because why? We could block 5 versus 4, 5 versus 5, and hold up with our quarterback. We could hold up. You know what we do? We line up. And empty teams would end up going nickel or dime or dollar for that matter. And you know what we do, Will? We motion Le'Veon into the backfield. And at that point right there, our 5 was better than your 4 that you had in there because you were a nickel and we still could play big man ball. The other side of that as well is to the point about the weapon is if you have a weapon like Jeremiah Love or Jahmyr Gibbs or Le'Veon Bell, you can motion them out of the backfield and a base set and run routes. That is that part of it as well. But you do have to, in my opinion, I got to scoff at it to keep everything as even as possible. The offensive line needs to grow up as quick as possible if you're going to go invest in a weapon like this. That's my only pushback on this one. This big group will grow fast.
Nearly 10% of Jahmyr Gibbs' snaps last season came lined up at wide receiver.
Wow.
Finished the year with 1,223 yards in the ground. That was 7th most in the NFL. And 616 yards in the passing game. That was 3rd most among running backs in the NFL. In his past 2 seasons, Jahmyr Gibbs has averaged nearly 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 19 touchdowns a year, which I think is kind of where you begin with expectations for Jeremiah Love. If you pick him at 4, you believe that is his expectation. He comes in and is a 2,000 all-purpose yard kind of player within your offense. I just like the way Dan Campbell characterizes this in the same way we've talked about Jeremiah Love for this entire time. He's not just a running back. You've got to think of him as the best possible weapon that you can give Cam Ward. And I think he is. And I think that's why they're going to do it at 4.
He's the 5th wide receiver and a lot 4th or 5th wide receiver.
I think he's the 2nd or 3rd wide receiver.
He could
be honest with you.
And now the issue is, I guess the conversation kind of evolves a little bit more too, because that was one of the things I felt like that kind of broke us up as a group. I think the Titans would be well suited to understand going into a contract with Jeremiah Love, if it does hit that second phase too, what are you categorizing him as? If he's a over 500 touches a year type of guy, meaning he's getting almost 300 carries on the ground and 100 plus targets or whatever, 80. My point is how we ended up breaking up was Le'Veon was just like, I'm not a running back. You can't pay me just $14 million.
I'll worry about that in 5 years.
That's very true, but you also want to keep that cohesion and everything together too, because if he's that strong of a weapon, you absolutely need to keep him in house the same way I think Detroit is trying to do with Jahmyr Gibbs at some point in time too.
You have so much money. Like,
this is true.
This team
now.
But again, like, you need good football players who you want to keep around.
No doubt.
And right now, the only ones that you've wanted to keep around with extensions at this point are Jeffrey Simmons, Peter Skoronski, Amani Hooker, and new free agents that you're bringing in. I'd rather spend that money on our own roster.
No doubt.
Versus always having to go on these shopping sprees. And then if he does leave, great, here's a comp pick back. Like, there are much more pressing issues, I think, at this point than, what would you do to re-sign him in 5 years?
In 5 years, yeah. That's also the timeline behind it. The most pressing issue that I have is, can you trust this OL? And what is the offense going to look like?
That's the question.
Yes.
Have the Titans given Jeremiah Love a good enough offensive line for them to truly maximize the value that he could bring?
Or are you willing to wait the way Las Vegas has done essentially with Ashton Genty? Like, they have their weapon. I don't think he's a pass catcher as much as Jeremiah Love
he's
or Jahmyr Gibbs.
He's not as much of a home run hitter either.
I know. He kind of – I don't want to blame Boise's competition because, I mean, if you're a runner, you're a runner. But legitimately, you do have to look and say, well, where are those things in the NFL? We at least needed one of those from the Vegas Raiders this past year as well, and we really didn't get plenty of it to justify him being that high of a draft pick. With that being said, if you are in a position where he's a weapon and you feel like he's the best thing that you can do as far as supplementing wide receiver 3, 4, and 5 with a running back that can motion out, give Dabo the gambit. Let him have what he wants. The same way that he wanted Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo up with the Giants. I wonder behind the scenes, because he's not the head coach, how much is he banging on the table for a guy like Jeremiah Love? Or is there another person somewhere else that can satisfy this role?
Mike Borgonzi was asked about Jeremiah Love and his top 30 visit yesterday in his media scrum at owners' meetings. Said it went well, and then also mentioned Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, Khalil Mullings, and said, I feel good about our running backs. So, obviously not giving much away. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, we'll talk more in hour 3 and 4 about the kind of hint that Mike Borgonzi gave or the statement again that we want and we feel like we are ready for the best player available for us to draft and how significant that could be moving forward. But coming up next, we talk Vols with VolQuest's Austin Price. A number of places will take it with Austin as Tennessee has Pro Day today. What that means for Jermon McCoy. Basketball ending. Transfer portal recruiting starting. Is there any chance Nate Ament comes back? We'll talk about that. And a Tennessee football scrimmage to react to from last week that we'll start with Austin Price after this. Every time the glass breaks, we give you the latest on the Vols with our good friend Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3. He is Ramon Foster. I am Will Bowling. We've got hoops, we've got pro day, we've got recruiting, we've got spring football to dive into this morning. Austin, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you doing?
We're good. Spring scrimmage. We don't have a starting quarterback yet. That's okay, though, nor are we going to anytime soon, of course. What is the biggest thing, Austin, you feel like this football staff learned in their first scrimmage about this team?
Yeah, they like where the defense is at in terms of the install. You know, we've got so many new pieces, whether it be coaching staff or players, and they saw some of those players step up in a big way. You know, DeJuan Lane had an interception, performed really, really solid. Jordan Norman was all over the field from defensive end. And, you know, I think all those things translate well as Tennessee looks to get as far into it as they can defensively this spring in terms of the install, letting everything become second nature. And because they know they're going to, you know, there's so much new that they know they're going to make mistakes, you know, but let's go ahead and get some of the stuff out of the way and you know, get to where, you know, it becomes, you know, second nature with a lot of the stuff defensively. And I think they feel like they've done a nice job through the first couple of weeks of spring.
Austin, any big takeaways from the scrimmage, just from what we have seen or heard about so far, the quarterback battle? I know Hub said Friday with us that in a lot of ways the competition kind of really starts now as everyone takes that next step in one direction or another from the first scrimmage. When will they have another opportunity as well to scrimmage?
They scrimmage Thursday, this coming Thursday. And to me, it's a big one because when you scrimmage during practice, there's 11-on-11 work during practice, but you know, so it's not just as simple as like it all comes down to the scrimmage because it's not that. But I think for George McIntyre, it's a chance to bounce back. He did not perform like he wanted to last Thursday, and then for Faison Brandon, you've got to clean up some of the small mistakes you made last Thursday, and you know, build off some of the good. And again, I think Brent's right. I mean, you know, a long way to go. Competition really starts now, and I think both have now kind of figured out, okay, here's where we are, and here's where we have to be better, and let's go do it.
We're joined by Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3 this morning. Austin, the run game is always important to Josh Heupel's offense, man. He's always finding a running back or two here or there that can really take them to the next level. But it seems to me that Tulane transfer at running back, Javon Gordon, man, has created some headlines for himself. How is he taking advantage of more reps this spring so far?
Well, Deshaun Bishop's being kind of, I won't say held out, but I mean, they're very intentional with what work he does get because he just doesn't need as much as the other guys. And Javon Gordon has a chance to get more run. DeJuan Morris has a chance to get more run. Justin Baker has a chance to get more run. Gordon's an interesting player, low center of gravity, kind of like a bowling ball to a degree. To me, he's a nice change of pace. You know, he's not just like Deshaun Bishop. He's probably a little bit, I mean, he's not as muscular, but, you know, I think, you know, just more of a low center of gravity back. And then you have the other change of pace, which is DeJuan Morris, who's more of a little scat back, who has gotten bigger, you know, looks really, really good right now. But Gordon comes in having started 5 games at Tulane last year, Ramon, and, you know, has some confidence to himself, and I think really fits well in with the other running backs in the room. Is not a huge personality, but has a self-confidence about himself that he feels like he can have success.
Man, the Vols have done well with recruiting defensive linemen. And also the other side, too, I don't want to overlook is the ratings in which these guys are bringing them in. One of those guys is Marion Dye, a high 4-star prospect, top 100, top 65 type of guy going into the spring, man. How has his game stepped up so far, Austin?
He's had a nice start to spring. I do think getting Rodney Garner back for the back part of spring would be big. Coach Garner, as of yesterday, was not back out there, but could be out there this morning. And, you know, I think that stuff's going to help a player like Marion Dye because he's used to that voice. But I think the work that Marion put in late December, January, and February has paved its way to now. I think he's got a real chance to be a really, really good player for Tennessee this fall from that strong side defensive end spot. And, I know that Coach Garner has been happy with his progress early in spring, even though he's not been there. He's been able to review all the practice footage, has been able to participate in Zooms, and again, hopefully we'll be back out there sometime this week. And I think he feels like Marion can really help push a guy like Tyree Weathersby, who also has had a really strong spring.
Austin Price of AllQuest on 3, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Austin, any surprises to you so far through spring ball?
I don't think anything comes to mind, Will, in terms of like specific players or anything like that. Again, we get to see so very little that it's hard to, get that kind of feel for it. I mean, you can know, who did this or who did that, who caught this touchdown in a scrimmage, a week ago. But as far as like every day at practice, who's getting praise during, teamwork or individual work for their growth, you don't hear about that as much because that's more centralized in on a specific kid. But, I think for Tennessee, they do like their soon-to-be sophomore class. They feel like that group can help them a lot, whether it be a receiver with Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson, whether it be at, what we just talked about with a guy like Marion Dye on the defensive line, or Ethan Utley on the defensive line, or Isaiah Campbell on the defensive line, DeJuan Morris at running back. I think that's where this team has a chance to take a jump if that class performs well.
Austin, Tennessee gets a commitment over the weekend from local product here from Brentwood Academy, Keyshawn Bowman. What ultimately made the difference for Tennessee in that recruitment as they battled off nearby Vanderbilt, Oregon at one point, the commitment spot for Keyshawn Bowman? How was Tennessee able to get this one over the line at this point?
Ramon, you see how he does this? Like, he never mentions Jaden Butler from Haywood committing, the Brentwood Academy kid.
Local product. A lot of people listening who watch Keyshawn play on Friday nights.
Get him, Austin. Come on, man. Come on, Austin. You call a spade, Austin.
I was going to leave Jaden Butler to Ramon. I mean, what are we West Tennessee? I'm
played against Haywood County numerous times, man. Wildcats over there. They purple and white, man. Tell them, Austin.
It's crazy.
You're not just a Middle Tennessee recruiter or right cover. You cover the whole state, Austin. And I feel like he's boxing you in, too. Austin, he's taking a shot at you.
Right. And currently headed for campus right now is Hall standout Jarrell Chandler.
There you go.
We can talk about the east to west, baby. We can cover it from Mountain City to Memphis.
Never thought he would discriminate against the state of Tennessee, Austin. Never thought he'd do it.
I mean, if it was an Ensworth kid, he wouldn't even have brought him up. If an Ensworth kid committed to Tennessee,
not even close.
You notice when I said Ethan Utley, he didn't even acknowledge him.
Breeze right on by.
That's how he does.
Yeah, I know. I was going to think, does he even know Ethan? Does he even know Ethan?
Okay. I love it.
Keyshawn's the big get. Credit Kelsey Pope, all jokes aside, credit Kelsey Pope a lot in this one. Even when Keyshawn committed to Oregon, Will, he never changed who he was. He never changed how he recruited him, stayed in there, just continued to recruit him like he wasn't committed to Oregon. And then there was the flirtation. Vanderbilt thought they had him at one point. Miami thought they had him at one point. The truth is they might both have had him for a brief moment, but the whole time, like, Kelsey Pope just kept, doing his thing. And, that, again, people asked me last night on the board, how solid do you think Keyshawn is? He's been a little bit all over the map. And I said, I think he's actually pretty solid because of Kelsey Pope. Do I think that schools are going to continue to recruit him? Yes. Wow. And why wouldn't they? Yeah. I mean, if you have good players, schools are going to continue to recruit those players. And might things get hairy at some point between now and December? Yes, absolutely. But I still think he is with the coach that he has the best relationship with at the school that he probably likes the most. tempting things like NIL are out there. But, I think that right now, as we said here, as the calendar gets ready to turn to April, Keyshawn Bowman is exactly where he wants to be.
Well, that is fascinating. Also, are there any other commitments that you like to speak about and bring a highlight to as well? You do good reporting on these types of things, and Will just chose not to, talk about them as well. The floor is yours, Austin.
Well, we can talk about also fellow Brentwood Academy standout Kenny Simon, who, man, I joked with his dad. I'm like, man, if you had Kenny's height, you might still be playing. Like Ramon, like Kenny's tall and he's getting big. And, Georgia, to me, Georgia has become Tennessee's biggest competition there. Like, kids are going to continue to say Bama and Georgia and Tennessee are all kind of intertwined 3 deep and all that. But I personally think it's Tennessee and Georgia. And if he's not going to go to his dad's alma mater, Georgia is the team to beat. So to me, it's those two at the top with Bama still in play.
Yeah.
A&M's trying to get him there, Ole Miss, all those schools. But as we said here, again, late March, this is, and then a recruitment that I think is starting to narrow down things, and we'll kind of see where things go with Kenny over the next month. But was here over the weekend, likes Jim Knowles a ton. Jim Knowles is left a big impression on him, same as William Inge. Obviously, he likes Heupel. And so I would expect him to continue to narrow the focus to that select group of schools over the next 30 to 45 days.
That's big time. Also, too, when you look at on the basketball side of things, man, we have to ask because people will ask us, and I'd much rather you give this answer. Any chance that Nate Ahmet comes back?
Well, I've learned a long time ago to never say never. And so I think anybody that just says nope would be fooling themselves. I do think it's probably, trending that he's going to go pro. I mean, where he is at in terms of, projected lottery pick, that type of thing, that's hard to pass up. Now, if you had enough GMs that said, look, if you went back to college with next year's draft class being weaker, you want to put on weight, you're talking about this amount of money as a top 3 pick versus this amount of money this year as a pick 9 to 19 or whatever. I still think it boils down to, that's been the plan the entire time, was to go pro after 1 year at Tennessee. And I think it would take he and his family seeing a much bigger picture for him to potentially return to college. But again, I don't want to say that it can't happen because, it certainly can. I just think, again, it trends to be him going pro.
No doubt.
Austin, you guys have always had the report about Belmont guard Tyler Lundblade being on campus for a visit as a graduate transfer, able to go ahead and start that process. How strong of a push is Tennessee making in this recruitment? How big of a role could he potentially play for a Tennessee team looking to reload in the backcourt next year?
As we said here on Tuesday morning, I think things trend well there for him to be at Tennessee next year. Not all the I's are dotted or T's are crossed at this point, but I think, again, things are looking like it's headed that direction. Obviously, Tennessee needs shooters, and, he would fit the bill, having shot 49% from 3 2 years ago, over 40 this past year. Makes a lot of sense. Again, they've got to, get in the room today, iron everything out, and then Tennessee's got to want to pull the trigger, and he's going to want to pull the trigger on them. But again, things seem to be trending in that direction, as we said here on Tuesday morning.
Austin, it's clear that Tennessee will be looking for a point guard in the transfer portal. Where else do you expect them to look with only a couple of spots if no one transfers out? There's obvious attrition that's happening everywhere, but what do you think the priorities are beyond just point guard on the whiteboard somewhere in that facility for Tennessee basketball?
Point guard, shooters, and then a rim protector. So ultimately, you'd love to have a point guard who shoots it well. A couple of, in a perfect world, probably a true 2 and then maybe a 3 who, again, shoots it well. The key here is the ability to make shots. And so, like, the players they add that are 1s, 2s, or 3s need to be able to knock down open shots, create the shots. As someone said the other day, be run stoppers. Be able to create a shot when a team is going on a run like Michigan did against Tennessee in the Elite Eight. Be able to make a shot that kills the run, that thwarts the momentum of the other team. So I think you're looking at those spots, and then a rim protector, someone who can come in and, somewhat replace what Felix Akpara was able to do, which was fantastic defensively for the last couple of years.
But Austin, the Vols Pro Day is today, man. Who's got the most to gain on this second time around if they went to the Combine as well?
Well, I'm going to stick with you go outside the box and say Josh Josephs. And if Hubbs was here, I think he actually may say Josh Josephs because Josephs did not do anything at the Combine, all that stuff. Now, I would tell you that you're looking at the secondary. Jermod McCoy, providing he runs and tests and all that today, like he's supposed to be, to me has the most to gain because he's the one nobody has been able to see. So where is he at in the recovery process? Like everybody, it's a bit of a mystery with him. And then I would tell you Colton Hood, who told me 2 days ago he will run. He thinks he can improve on his 4.44 40 time and believes he can get in the 4.3s. And, I think, you've seen some posturing, is he dropping? Is he not dropping? Could he drop out of the first round? All that. I think he wants to solidify himself as a first rounder today. He's already met with a handful of NFL teams, has plans to meet with a handful more. Now, if you want to go outside the box, I think Jalen McMurray can be the guy that comes out of pro day with some buzz to him if he can run fast enough. Because I think there's some moxie to his game, and I think potentially is someone who could be a steal for an NFL team. If he runs well enough today, I think that's where things can really start to, change for Jalen McMurray, who was not invited to the Combine.
He is Austin Price of VolQuest Tuesdays here on Ramon and Will at Austin Priceless, where you get him on Twitter, volquest.com, where you get the very best covering Tennessee athletics. Thank you, Austin. We'll talk next week.
Appreciate it, Oz.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us this morning, previewing Pro Day, talking a little basketball portal, some football recruiting, and not just the Middle Tennessee prospect.
It was good. Middle Tennessee talent has taken off, though. I would say if you have an account at On3 or VolQuest, and you just go look at the state of Tennessee recruits, the amount of 4-stars that are here, and also I'll add this too, the amount of available prospects coming out of the state right now is almost double or triple the amount that we had coming out. Now, this is also 22 years ago in 2004. But a talent from east to west, as Austin was saying, we speak about often, is up. It's up tremendously. Numerous quarterbacks, numerous skill players. We got wide receivers that are 4-stars that Tennessee's not recruiting, but are going to other places as well. So it's a good time to be an athlete in this state.
It doesn't hurt either that you've got some teams that have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Since that time, you're always going to have the Keyshawn Bowman point, the Brentwood Academies, the Oaklands,
Baylor's.
But the Baylor was kind of my point on the other side that Baylor did not used to be half as good as they are now.
Really? They were just a big boarding school?
Now they have Canadian talent.
Yeah.
No, they used to have Canadian talent.
No, just to give the full breakdown of what happens at Baylor. Baylor's a world school.
Baylor and McCallie are both boarding schools that after COVID, when football was shut down in a lot of places, took a big step up in terms of who they were able to get on campus and play for their high school football programs. And so there are a number of Canadian football players, American football players, who go to Baylor and McCallie, who have raised the level of in-state recruiting that Tennessee can do down the road because those kids aren't growing up in Canada anymore. They're growing up in Chattanooga.
Right.
And so that's helped. Trent Dilfer has helped that at Lipscomb. Ingle Martin and CPA, a program that has come a long way since '04 as Nashville has grown. And like, we go down the list, and every time we talk high school sports like this, somebody's like, well, you're leaving out. Like, I know there are a ton of teams we're leaving out that we're not mentioning here off the top, but so many programs have come such a long way in the last 20 years as Nashville has boomed. And schools like Tennessee are benefiting from it because it gives them better recruiting in their backyard to be able to do.
For instance, to the point that we're making right now, the top 3 players in the state according to Rivals and 247 is David Gabriel Georges from Baylor, Keyshawn Bowman from Brentwood Academy, and then Keegan Croucher, who's also at Baylor. Of those top 3, 2 of them are from Baylor. Now,
the fourth is Kenny Simon, who's from BA.
DGG is from Ohio or somewhere up north, Canadian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
Yeah.
And Keegan Croucher is from Connecticut. And he's going to Baylor.
Right.
So that's the point. But in that list, as you mentioned, of course, Kenneth Simons from Brentwood Academy, Collierville, Tay Walden Jr. is in this, Amari Sanders, Franklin Road Academy, Andre Adams, and
awesome, too. Amari Sanders. He's committed to Vandy right now, but Tennessee's, I know, pushing hard.
Linebacker, right? He was on campus about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yes. They've been raving at, I've been watching him since he was a freshman, and that staff has loved him for years.
Yeah, man, by the way, too, just, again, this is a shout out to all of Middle Tennessee football, but Rockville also has a lot of prospects that have been popping up lately.
Rockville, Kirkwood, like a lot of the new schools, too.
Yeah.
Great talent.
Great talent that's coming through. Rockville's got 2 of the top 15 in the state right now for the class of 2027, which is speaking a lot, about where this state is again.
Sure. Coming up, speaking of a quarterback from Tennessee, Ty Simpson talks about the ability to be a first-round pick in a recent media availability. We'll talk about that next.
This is a different court, Blair.
Same result, Slay.
Oh, okay, Blair. See, that's Tyler Tanner. See, Tyler Tanner's in the house now.
Let's see what you got. Jerry's out, Blair.
Blair, come on. Okay, Blair, just come sit down. Come on, Blair, stop. You're going to get hurt. Blair, get off the court. That's enough.
What's the verdict, Blair?
The courtroom is where I play ball.
Boy, Durham, injury law. And that ain't got no roof.
Wrapping up hour 2 in the first half of the show on Ramon and Will. We'll talk more about Mike Borgonzi's big statement yesterday about draft priorities at 4. Big, a relative term. You may consider it a big statement. Maybe you consider it nothing. You be the judge. We'll allow you to be the judge coming up here in just a few minutes. Ramon, Ty Simpson says, I feel like I've done everything I can, but it's not up to me. There's going to be a lot of questions around my name. Was asked about being a first-round pick, and he said, absolutely. Where is the range for Westview High School and University of Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson?
Where's the range as far as where he gets picked at?
Yeah. Where does the potential range where he could get picked begin?
Looking at this draft order real quick, I personally don't expect anybody to move up for Ty because Ty will be available. If that's the case, the only surprise that I could see, and I don't think New Orleans in this conversation, Washington for sure isn't, I'd go from, 15 to 21, to be quite honest with you.
15 is Tampa Bay, 21 is Pittsburgh.
Baker being in that conversation, if the Jets want to also take them at 16, they have that option as well. Minnesota to plan for a guy. They like what he is as a quarterback, too. They got a 1-year rental in Kyler Murray. Like, that is his sweet spot. Carolina said Dallas is okay, although Dak can be a part of this conversation, too. It's just where does Jerry want to go get his next quarterback if paying $60 million a year to Dak Prescott doesn't give him a Super Bowl? That's where they are, while George Pickens is also saying he might not be a part of the offseason program. And, of course, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's in quarterback purgatory. It's been this since the Kenny Pickett draft of 2021. This is kind of how it's been for him. So I'd go from Tampa to Pittsburgh is the way I look at it.
Ty Simpson completed 65% of his passes last season, just over 3,500 yards and 28 touchdowns. Started the season really well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, amazing.
If he'd sustained what he had on tape in the first 6 to 7 games of the season, I think he could go 3 to the Cardinals. Yeah. He didn't do that, though. In his final 5 games, Ty Simpson averaged 156 yards passing with 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Turned out he was dealing with injuries, which every player that has a bad end of the season seems to deal with, according to their agents, including gastritis. Am I saying that right?
It's a stomach issue?
Gastritis. That dropped his weight below 200 pounds before the college football playoff. He left Alabama's blowout loss to Indiana. I just had to let that breathe for a minute. In the Rose Bowl with a rib injury. He has met with 2 teams, the LA Rams and the New York Jets. The Rams have pick 13. The Jets pick 2 and 16. Yeah. I think the run on Ty Simpson starts at 13 on when he could potentially go.
At 13?
To the LA Rams.
Planning
for life after Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
You've been aggressive with the other first-round pick you had in order to acquire Trent McDuffie. You've been aggressive in rebuilding your team in free agency. I think it makes sense for a quarterback that doesn't have a ton of on-the-job training yet.
Right.
And in a perfect world is going to need a little bit of time, maybe 1 to 2 years behind Matthew Stafford, before he steps in and is an NFL quarterback. I think if I'm Ty Simpson, that's what I'm praying happens.
Yeah.
Is go to LA, because I think there's a world where Ty Simpson waits behind Matthew Stafford for a year or two and is a pretty good NFL quarterback with Sean McVay in that system with those weapons and a serviceable offensive line for the Rams.
His last ditch to me, if he doesn't go anywhere, I kind of want to consider San Francisco, but not really. But it's that 24th pick from Jacksonville to Cleveland. I mean, is Cleveland's quarterback problem resolved? Do we truly believe that?
Jimmy Haslam yesterday says that Deshaun Watson can still be a home run signing if he crushes it this year.
Yeah.
And I could still be a pro golfer if I go shoot in the 60s.
I can unretire
for 6 straight months. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
That's just, they didn't think anybody was paying attention to what he was saying. That's all.
Oh, no, I think it might be quite the opposite. I think he was so happy that everyone was paying attention to what he was saying that he decided to say whatever he wanted.
there's nothing to be won on Deshaun unless you're telling me he's bringing them AFC championship. Yeah. Like, that's where I'm at.
So can we totally rule out Arizona at 3 for Ty Simpson?
Too rich, in my personal opinion. That is a reach.
And we're ruling out the Browns at 6.
Yes.
For Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
I think so, too, on Cleveland. I'm less confident on Arizona.
They got a 24th pick, though. Cleveland.
It would surprise me but not stun me if Arizona pulled the Falcons move. And I think we've learned in the past few seasons, Ramon, we know very little about how these quarterbacks are actually viewed. Shedeur Sanders, Will Levis, Jackson Dart, Michael Penix.
Dylan Gabriel.
All great examples about the way we view quarterbacks being probably very different from the way teams talk about quarterbacks, because there's just more at stake when you talk about quarterback.
Yeah.
You're either trying to get somebody to move up with you, so you're promoting someone when in reality you don't really love them, or you secretly love a guy, but if someone else really likes him too, you don't want him moving in front of you, because that's just such a critical position to get right, because there's only one of them that plays. I don't have to explain why quarterback's so important. I just think the stakes are so much higher that the smoke screens are that much thicker. And like, I know Orlovsky's going on McAfee saying, like, I can guarantee you, like, first of all, Orlovsky's not an insider. Secondly, I just don't know what's real and what's fake, especially at quarterback. About anything at the draft this time of year, but especially at quarterback. So I'm not going to 100% rule out that Arizona does something crazy and takes him at 3, although it would surprise me.
The issue that these young quarterbacks have, though, are too many options still available to you. Like, your Joe Flacco signings are still in the mix. Like, you got other quarterbacks and Kyler Murray that are still getting second chances and pushing these young quarterbacks down the totem pole.
You know who the 2 quarterbacks are for the Cardinals right now?
2 washed up guys.
Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. That's the issue that you're
bleak
to. I'm with Joe Flacco. I was asking a question while he was being, traded to Cincinnati. Why are they trading for him? It's because the young quarterback market is cheeks. It's bad, man. The development is not there. We're looking at Anthony Richardson, case in point. Deshaun Watson, both of them, that are not. Where's Zach Wilson? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the questions.
He just re-signed somewhere the other day.
But that's the point. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are top 5 picks that
are backup quarterback for the Saints. What do you mean? What an honor.
You said that with so much pride. What an honor. But that's my point, though. And then now Tyler Shuck is holding the keys to the New Orleans Saints franchise as a second-round draft pick, though. After also being knocked for his age. If I was an NFL quarterback that's had a little bit of success, Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, I'm never leaving the NFL.
615-737-1045, our number. We'll talk about Nashville's future Super Bowl hopes. Not just playing in one, but hosting one after this.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Letting you know we hate dealing with plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergencies at all. I actually had a plumbing issue the other day at my house. It was actually, I didn't have to call Hiller, but it could have gotten worse around the house, man. I knew this, though, that if I did need help with it, Hiller was the company I was going to go reach out to. But most of the time, you don't know what these type of issues will cost you if it'll get fixed, right? If somebody is trying to sell you something you do not need, Hiller, man, they're going to solve your problems quickly every single time. And it's because of their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whatever work they do around your house, they believe in their motto that they sell to everybody. And I truly believe in it myself. It's happy you'll build a service is free. You don't have that type of motto if you're not good at what you're doing. Also been in business for over 35 years. That also backs up their claims, or you'll be happy with their service. They're family owned and operated as well, and their techs are always very professional and experienced at everything that they do. And they also send you a link and a photo of the tech that'll be coming to your house so you can track them in real time, so you're not guessing when they will show up to your house. You'll know exactly when they will show up to your house. Listen, to book with them like I do to learn more about Hiller, simply head over to happyhiller.com.
8:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports, the Main Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Some NFL news at the NFL owners meeting yesterday in Phoenix, Arizona. Colts general manager Chris Ballard did not rule out quarterback Anthony Richardson, the 4th overall draft pick in 2023, his return in 2026, despite Richardson asking for a trade earlier this offseason. Ballard said, quote, "We'll see how it works out here over time." The Super Bowl is headed back to Las Vegas in 2029. It was announced yesterday. As for 2030, Nashville's hopes to host. Titans controlling owner Amy Adams Strunk and president and CEO Burke Nihill made a presentation about new Nissan Stadium, and options are on the table for Nashville to potentially host in 2030 and beyond. The women's Final Four set as their term is all chalk. A battle of one seeds coming up this Friday in Phoenix, Arizona to start a juggernaut matchup between South Carolina and UConn. And then Texas will take on UCLA in the late game. Coming up today, Tennessee Vols football have their pro day in Knoxville, including cornerback Jahmyr McCoy, who is expected to test for the first time in front of NFL scouts, as he did not test at the NFL Combine last month. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the second half of your Tuesday as Ramon and Will rolls on. At Ramon and Will on Twitter, at Ramon Foster, at Will_bowling. The number is 615-737-1045 if you want to jump in. The NFL yesterday announced that Vegas will host Super Bowl 63 in 2029 at Allegiant Stadium. But what about Nash Vegas? Well, that could be 2030. Amy Adams Strunk and Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill presenting to the league yesterday. Peter O'Reilly, the EVP of Events, International, and Club Business, answering questions about that yesterday at NFL owners meetings, saying that Burke Nihill and Amy Adams Strunk made an impressive large group presentation at the NFL owners meetings Monday morning, showcasing the new Nissan Stadium and the transformation of the East Bank that had nothing to do with Super Bowl, but was, quote, a great opportunity for them to show the full membership how transformational that project is on the East Bank. A lot of options for Super Bowls with a lot of new stadiums opening up, but Ramon, it feels like 2030 is the first big push and the first big chance for Nashville to host a Super Bowl, which would be Super Bowl 64 in 2030.
It'd be huge. This stadium is not built for just football, is the way I think we all need to look at it, too, or just for Titans games. I look at the national championship being a part of this conversation, March Madness in some capacity. Probably
throw an SEC football championship in there if it still exists.
Absolutely. If it still exists, don't say that. No, we gotta have that.
That's the reality of where we're at.
But back to the Super Bowl. This is an event that you want. This is why you build that stadium and get city and state dollars behind it as well, because you want that to come back. And the Super Bowl is the best way to do it. It is by far, I think, America's biggest event. I know there might be one or two that hit you here or there. I know WrestleMania is huge. I've done that. It is phenomenal. But the NFL is a week-long just money pit of boosting your economy in a way for the world's, I think, United States' biggest show. I think this stadium is going to be very attractive to a lot of people, and the East Bank, of course, playing a huge part in it for decades, years to come, too, in general. Nashville, you want this, is what I'm telling you. To be one of those cities that become a frequent place to get the Super Bowl is huge for your economy, and I think it just puts you in a different light. There'll be people that'll come here that have probably never visited Nashville and get an opportunity to enjoy what it is, but for all the hate that this stadium has gotten, I know people talking about the state funding and stuff like that, the payoff is this Super Bowl, and it's well worth it in my personal opinion.
Peter O'Reilly said the new Nissan Stadium will be open for 3 years in 2029, says that falls within the window that could be viable when speaking of Nashville's chances of being a host in 2030. Jim Wyatt, writing about this at TennesseeTitans.com, says leading up to Super Bowl 60 last month, Titans president and CEO Burke Nihill and Nashville Convention and Visitors Corp CEO Deanna Ivey were among those from Tennessee in San Francisco, studying how the Bay Area Host Committee is coordinating the events leading up to this year's game. Says it is an annual fact-finding trip the group has taken to Super Bowl cities in order to be as prepared as possible when Nashville gets this opportunity to present a formal bid package to the league, whenever that may be. The hope, Burke Nihill said, is to have that opportunity in the not-so-distant future.
Yeah. The question, though, too, about the East Bank, if we're talking about stadium done in 27, I know there's supposed to be condos, stores, shops, and stuff like that. Like, I know, they can build quicker and technology's gotten that much more advanced. But what is the East Bank going to look like? What is the stadium cleanup going to look like? Has Burke them said how long that stadium deconstruction is going to take?
It's a good question. I have not heard a specific timeline. No,
I didn't think so. If I
do
had
think
his number, I'd text it, but I don't. No,
well, I was going to say, I think, it sounds like they're making presentations. They're out there out west.
Yeah.
But I do think that's some of the rationale of waiting until 2030.
Okay.
For this. Just reading between the lines that the NFL likes for a building to be open for a couple of years before you immediately throw it into hosting a Super Bowl. And I think specifically, just my guess is that considering the entertainment district that will make that entire space around the stadium so much different, you want to put your best foot forward when you have a lot of that stuff done as well. And the plans are awesome. Like the tailgating areas, the shops and the stores, but just the ability to just be in a grassy space also where the current stadium is and have tailgates and bring your own food and drink and things like that, I think is of particular value to that stadium as well, just from everything I've heard about and what's been reported out there. So it looks awesome, and it looks like a legit building is the fun thing. I mean, I know you drive by it a lot on your way down here from Hendersonville. I mean, it is shot up quick, and there's still so much to be done, but it is exciting to say the least.
I just looked up a quick, how long does a luxury apartment complex take to build? And it's got 18 to 36 months. So if they do consider like moving, and that's just a chat GPT question real quick, but just looking at it, if they will have riverside or riverfront properties and stuff like that, it would add to the effect of the entertainment side of it too. I do wonder what it's going to look like. That area is going to be stupendous in my personal opinion. To get a riverfront apartment or condo over there, Will, go ahead and treat yourself, man. Go ahead and put your bid in, man. I want those luxury condos.
We'll see.
Overlooking the river. You can get the Broadway fireworks display and everything now.
It's true.
Yeah.
Imagine living in one of those apartment complexes the weekend of the Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh. I'd rent it out. I would. I'd Airbnb that thing.
A lot of those buildings don't let you. Like in your lease, you have to sign something that, unless you buy it.
Yeah.
But in your lease, you have to sign something that says you will not Airbnb it.
That's true.
Because like that dissuades people from living in buildings like that. Like I lived in a building when I moved here at one point that had so many like Airbnb and short-term vacation rentals, and you could always tell who those people were.
They had to catch me that week.
Loud. Very loud.
Yeah, that's very true too.
You alerted me to this in the break. Some reporting out there about Tyler Tanner.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt point guard. Tyler Tanner, a couple of notes here, has signed with CAA. Agency, big agency. They are representing him for NIL representation, Ramon. Potential first round, early second round pick, Vanderbilt point guard, local product from here in Middle Tennessee, represented for NIL representation. Does that sound like a guy coming back to college? I mean, that kind of the guess that I get there, but
we talked about it though.
CAA could also represent him as an NBA prospect, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a big time agency.
I'm trying to see what second round money is for NBA players. Just because if you're telling me he's a second round player, then I'd also look at that situation as far as him coming back to school, as he can just strengthen his case. Everybody wants to be a first rounder. NBA players. With that being said, he can make a whole lot more money, have less stress when it comes down to it, as far as him continually building his game up and not having to go down to the G League and stuff like that. It's like off the NBA, minimums is $1 to $2 million for it. So two-way contracts, $500,000 to $600,000 as well. This, to me, if he's smart, he maximizes as much as he possibly can get from the NCAA ranks. Now, it can be from Florida. I'm sure Bama will probably try to come after a guy like him. Like, this is
BYU, North Carolina, Kentucky. I mean, every single big spender.
Him coming back means that money is going to be big for him. Going to CAA shows that he's not messing around. That's the way I look at it, too. Like, I personally, if I'm in his situation, because I would feel like he's emotionally attached to Vanderbilt, and he should be. Vanderbilt believed in him. He's from this city as well. Talk to my reps. And as far as we know right now with CAA don't care about your feelings. They care about that bag.
Tennessee would absolutely be interested in Tyler Tanner if he does hit the portal. Why wouldn't they?
I'm just asking the question. I mean, I know they went and got Jalen Carey last year. This is true.
And they have money to spend because Tennessee doesn't have that many open spots. So you can afford to be picky and go for it.
You can be picky.
Can you imagine?
These are the problems that follow when you have a good team.
It's good problems, but they're problems.
We spoke about Vanderbilt being a healthy athletic organization right now anyway. Yeah. Now it's retention. I look at the same thing as it wouldn't shock me if Michaela Blake's. Like, that's another situation.
100%.
They got to pay to play right 100%. Now.
100%. That is the challenge of just sustaining success.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanderbilt has totally had Tennessee's number this year. You're not going to hear me debate any of that. But now comes the hard part that Tennessee has been dealing with, because Tennessee has been successful for years now. How do you keep all those guys in-house? How different does that Tennessee basketball team look this year if they're able to keep Tobe Awaka, Cam Carr, and B.J. Edwards? Different circumstance, because two of those guys weren't playing much. The other one wanted to play a little bit more, as Tennessee was bringing more guys in from the portal and Awaka. Not a one-to-one comparison, but it's the price of progress. Other teams are going to want your players.
No doubt.
And there's going to be a lot of teams that want Tyler Tanner.
Yes,
if he does enter the portal. And maybe this is just, hey, let's make sure we get the best possible offer from Vandy. And that may be the case. I'm not going to pretend I know the inside info there, but you sign with CAA, that'll raise some eyebrows.
No doubt.
On the money you're looking to get back.
So his numbers, right? Tyler Tanner, would you put him in elite tier? If he hits
elite prospect or elite
prospect,
college point guard?
College point guard.
He's an elite college point guard,
okay.
Yes. I think he's a solid NBA prospect as well, but he is no question, elite college point guard.
Asia DeBonsa, the BYU commit. He was a freshman now. A little bit different, too.
Right.
Reportedly from $4 to $5 million is what his was.
Nate Ament reportedly got 3.
Nate Ament
to
got
play 1
3.
year in Tennessee.
They're saying that Cameron Boozer got from 2 to 2.8. It's Duke, and Duke's private, so they don't have to disclose this.
It wouldn't surprise me if Tyler Tanner garnered $5 million.
5? I heard, only hearsay, there was a player that got 6.
Whatever the top of the market is, Tyler Tanner's going to be at it. Vanderbilt, put your money where your mouth is. If you want to talk about changing narratives and rivalries and being with the big dogs and be one of these programs, they're keeping around Mark Byington. That's a good start. But this is how you really arrive at the national stage. You keep your guys when you have the opportunity to keep them.
I see somebody says signing with CAA in our YouTube chat is good for Vandy.
Why is that?
Bullshiano.
I don't understand that rationale.
You don't understand how agents work. I know CAA is based here in Nashville. That ain't got nothing to do.
Nothing to do with Vanderbilt.
Well, any organization for that matter.
If that was the case, Jimmy Sexton would have gotten Tennessee better football coaches than some of their searches in the past.
Jimmy Sexton, he's a UT commit,
who went to Tennessee.
Or Tennessee grad.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, let's remove that narrative already.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with being... I mean, if anything, it's probably bad news for me.
They are here the same way In-N-Out Burgers is here.
The same way we talk about Drew Rosenhaus and Scott Boras and other sports. Like, signing with CAA is that.
I'm not minimizing your point.
You're going to get the bag.
But CAA is the gremlins that pop out when money shows up.
As Tyler Tanner should. Get the best possible offer. He's earned it.
Man, talking about a $500,000 signing bonus for a second-round pick, or I can get $5 to $6 million in college. Will, with no classes? All right. You better
We
bring.
probably still go to some classes. Just might be a lot online.
Okay, let's remove.
There's not going to no classes.
I'm not going to any classes at this point.
Coming up, Mike Borgonzi made an interesting comment yesterday at owners' meetings that may hint towards selecting 2 prospects with the 4th overall pick. We'll talk about it next. Hour 3 of Ramon and Will on your Tuesday morning commute. Stream it live, 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The 104.5 The Zone app available to you as well. You can take us out of our massive listening area in Middle Tennessee. We appreciate you stopping by wherever you are choosing to listen this morning or watch. Mike Borgonzi had some interesting comments yesterday, Ramon, and I'm curious if you totally believe that this hints at Jeremiah Love being a Tennessee Titan. Or maybe Sonny Styles being a Tennessee Titan. Easton Freeze asked Mike Borgonzi how he parses out better players at devalued positions versus players at premium positions that aren't quite at the same level of master, he says at AtoZSports.com. Mike Borgonzi says the following. Yeah, I mean, some of these guys that have the same grade of premium positions, you know, quarterbacks, tackles, I always come back to say for us, where we're at right now, we want to take the best player available right now. Depends on your roster construction as well. But, you know, I would say where we're at, we're taking the best player available. Easton Freeze writes at AtoZSports.com, I responded by attempting to clarify. So you're not paying attention to positional value, just getting the best football player? Borgonzi, I mean, it depends. Everybody has different opinions on positional value, but yeah. Easton, I pushed one final time. If a guy in your mind is far and away a better football player than another guy, you don't really care what position they play? Borgonzi with a succinct final response, quote, we are taking the best football player. Does this point towards Jeremiah Love at 4, Ramon?
It could.
Does it? Do you think it does?
Nope. Because Borgonzi didn't answer a thing right there. He absolutely didn't. He dropped a couple of breadcrumbs, like when we're talking about the top 4 guys, specifically at this spot, top 5, because whoever the fourth one is, the fifth one behind him, I think is pretty good, too. Our top 5 are Arvell Reese, Fernando
top 5
Mendoza.
Of just best football players overall?
Yeah. Let's just go the first 4 or 5 picks the way we would probably understand it. Okay. Who's in that top 5 pick world?
Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles,
and David Bailey.
Yeah. I think those are the top 5 players in the draft.
Those are your top 5.
Regardless of position.
I think you take off Arvell, you take off Fernando Mendoza. Bam. Now, the draft starts at 3. Who is it? David Bailey that's going to get taken?
I think it's Francis Mauigoa that's going to get taken.
Okay.
With the number 3 pick by the Arizona Cardinals.
Even better with what you're left with at that point in time.
I think the Titans are going to have a choice between Reuben Bain Jr., David Bailey, Jeremiah Love, and Sonny Styles.
Awesome group of guys.
Great world to live in.
Way better options I feel like you've had since 22, 23 when it comes down to selecting the top 5 pick. Look, okay, between...
We haven't had a top 5 pick other than last year.
Well, yeah, that's true. But as far as like the top 10s that they've had, between Joe Alt and J.C. Latham, I think there was a letdown if the way Joe Alt was covered from going from Joe Alt to J.C. Disrespectfully, it was. Look at, what was it last year? Well, Cam settled. And then I think if you look at Peter Skoronski going back, what was it, 4 drafts ago now, 3-4 drafts ago now too. You look at that one, and I think this fan base felt like they settled. This second time around, settle for a spot that you needed is the way I will look at that one too. Nobody really enjoyed the offensive line sexy picks, whatever the case may have been. Now you come back around to this trio of guys we just mentioned. Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love, and David Bailey, if Francis Mauigoa goes 3rd overall. Who's the best of those 3 for your team? He says we're taking the best football player. Now, some would say that is, well, you got a runner and you also got a catcher in Jeremiah Love. Best football player could be David Bailey's eventual, just the way he's going to grow into his talent, his eventual potential. Or do you look at Sonny Styles and say the best player available because of his size, his style, and how he's played, and he specifically...
Because he's Fred Warner.
Exactly. I don't know, and that's why I said Borgonzi didn't answer it per se, but a lot of people suspect who's the best player in the draft.
Well, I think he did answer, though, the question about positional value, saying that for them, they feel like they're in the position to take the best football player. He just didn't tell us who that player is, obviously. But I think he did answer a question here pretty directly. That's not a non-answer.
It's not a non-answer.
To say that depends on your roster construction, but Where we're at, we are taking the best player available.
Now, that part depends on your roster construction. I've said this about taking the running back. I'm not opposed to it, but the running back position is also predicated on how good or bad your offensive line is as well.
And in a lot of ways, the linebacker position is predicated on how good or bad your defensive line is as well.
I think the defensive line is better than the offensive line for this particular team.
So then all the more reason to get a running back that can cover up your deficiencies up front, knowing that a lot of different linebackers can play behind a really good defensive line.
Will's in love, y'all, and it's not because he's getting married. You're in Jeremiah Love, and I like that.
I'm not Jeremiah Love or bust, but
Right.
he is my first choice now.
For sure.
Based off of what you did in free agency, and based off the answer that Robert Saleh has given on the record in the past, that he believes John Franklin Myers on early downs is a defensive end. I think you've got enough on your defensive front to justify prioritizing the better player in Love
That's facts.
over the best edge rusher in Bailey or Bain. Before they had Franklin Myers or Jermaine Johnson, I was going to say Reuben Bain Jr.
Right.
And if I'm picking between those three, Reuben Bain Jr. is my second choice. David Bailey will be my last choice.
Rob Ayers kind of convinced me last week on David Bailey more than I thought I wanted to be.
Sure.
And convinced on him by saying that, hey, it's hard finding a weapon that can bend. He's a specialty piece for the way this defensive line is set up to get after the quarterback. And I do know that means a lot. We also now are just in a different world and just watching how Robert Saleh is going to manage his team. That's the other part, too. Is how does Robert Saleh manages his team and game day experiences? Is it aggressive offense or is it aggressive defense? Like, you want both to play a part in it, but which one do you trust more as a defensive-minded head coach?
Who sets the tone?
I've known those guys to be more reserved because they trust their defenses more than they do anything that the offense does. It's true. There's more room for error on the offensive side of the ball when you make that your calling card. Everybody's got to be above the line. And right now, offensively, this team isn't above the line. But I'll give you credit to your point. The running back can make bad offensive linemen right. I've lived in that world.
And especially a running back who can catch. And a running back who can split out as a wide receiver. A running back that can be on the field with Tony Pollard or Tajay Spears at the same time. A running back that can take a check down from Cam, teaching him how to check down, first of all, and turn a 5-yard route into a 20 or 30, 50-yard gain. He is a home run hitter from wherever you give him the football. And that's where he is different from Ashton Genty to me. And Ashton Genty, who did not have as much of the ability of hitting home runs where little was given, but hitting singles and doubles. That's great, but for a top 5 running back, you better be giving me some 40, 50, 60-yard runs out of nothing. And I think Jeremiah Love can do that.
Yeah. I just... And again, my mind is warped when it comes to the importance of the running back position. I'm not afraid to admit that for specific reasons. I was always taught that the bigs lead the team. Wherever they choose to let you go is where you go.
I agree with that.
And that's the portion of this team where I feel like there's the unknowns of what are they going to do with right guard position. If you do go with a young guy in Jackson Slater, do you go with Austin Sloatman for your starting center? It's that side of it too. Now, this isn't just a one-year plan for Jeremiah Love if you do take him. The buildup of surrounding him with better talent is playing a part too. Now, the way I look at Brian Dable and how he's going to call this offense plays a part in that too for him. Is it just line up in 12 personnel and just run the football downhill? Or do you trust the threats of having, of course, Wan'Dale Robinson and also Calvin Ridley being back on a restructured deal? Can you use them as weapons to soften up the box so that Jeremiah Love and his offensive line can grow? Like, as much as we're asking for Jeremiah Love to be the home run hitter, a lot of pressure goes directly, and I think with his reputation, it specifically goes to Brian Dable. He shouldn't be sleeping. I ain't gonna say he shouldn't be sleeping at night, but the amount of sleep that he's going to get with how he needs to game plan this team, who is still, I think, insufficiently just fit with talent, it's got to be a magic trick almost for a little bit until you get strong enough. How much can you hide with this offensive deficiencies that they have at certain spots, or maybe not at the levels that you want, or the questions that you have?
Yeah, I also think I can make the argument that the Titans' offensive line at times struggled last season because it was in so many 3rd and longs because it wasn't able to run the football. And you feel like now you've addressed a spot at center to where you did struggle to run block last year. With Corey Levitt in there, the run blocking looked a lot different, didn't it?
True. This is true.
So I think that's one area of the Titans being cognizant of how you solve a multifaceted problem. The problem is that the Titans were not good at all on third down last year.
No.
There are many solutions that you can get in order to fix that problem. One of them, get a sure-handed receiver who can operate in a phone booth and get open in a small amount of space. That's Wan'Dale Robinson.
Get the ball out of Cam hand.
Secondly, maturation from your quarterback to understand how quickly he's got to get the ball out of his hand. That's another way to solve it. I think another way to solve it is just decrease the amount of yardage you need to pick up on third down. If you can get 4 or 5 yards from Jeremiah Love, and we're not even talking about home runs, we're talking about 4 or 5 yards from Jeremiah Love on first down instead of 1 or 2 from Tony Pollard. Now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 5. All right, I got the whole playbook open to me. There were too many times last season when, regardless of who was calling plays, whether it was Brian Callahan or Bo Hardegree, that a very small portion of the playbook was available for them to call plays from because they were so consistently in third and long. Well, then all of a sudden now you got to help Dan Moore out. You got to help J.C. Latham out. Yeah. Your tackles are on islands. Now Lloyd Cushenberry at center. You're asking a lot of a group of 5 that I think was not awful last year and looked better towards the end of the season when you actually had the threat of a run game that set you up in third and manageable. Imagine if that was a greater threat, again, of a run game, what that could mean for Cam Ward. That's why I'm on the Jeremiah Love train.
Understood.
I saw how much of a difference a run game made for this quarterback last season. How much better could it still get? Do you agree with him, though, Ramon, on Mike Borgonzi making the statement about, I would say, where we're at? We're taking the best player available, saying with where the Titans roster is right now, because he made the caveat at the beginning of this quote saying, it depends on your roster construction, making the point that this roster is ready to take the best player available with the 4th pick. Do you agree with that?
The roster is? Yeah, it's better suited. They've filled in a ton. Offensively, got a tight end, got a wide receiver, still brought Calvin back. You still got experience at the running back position. Cam should get better. Your bookends, your tackles are set. One of your left guards, and you just got to figure out the interior. I personally think it's easier to figure out and hide them. And again, the other part too, though, when we're speaking about this team is fit for it. The block and protection schemes, the way Ben Jones, who was in with us last week, described it, and the way I've looked at it and described it too, it is a lot of slide left and slide right type of protections. Cam's knows this time around where his hots are going to be if they're asking him to make the calls up front, and also the audibles on top of that. Yes, it's set up better this year than it has been in years past with the questions that the draft will be able to answer for you. And to your point, immediately too, if you do go get David Bailey, and he's the, air quotation marks, best player, you got a rush specialist that is super dynamic that can grow. If you do go get Sonny Styles, you got an inside off-ball linebacker, whether he starts from day one or not, that you know the talent and the production has been there in college. And then if you do go get Jeremiah Love, yes. So to my point about him not giving a direct answer to a specific player,
sure,
that's what my point was on Borgonzi speaking. But he's right. If you are going for those 3, yes, 100%. They are some of the best players in the last couple of drafts at their positions, period.
Honestly, I don't read a ton into this quote. Because what did they do last year? They spent all draft season talking about we're going to take the best player available. They selected Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
They told us after the fact, we believe Cam Ward is the best player in this draft. I think they did a really good job selling Cam Ward. I think there was a mix, and they very well may have had Cam number 1 on their board. I think the reality is that quarterback is so valuable that it was a marriage of value and quality. And this was a quarterback-needy team that went out and got the player that they felt like was the best quarterback available. If they were to take Ramon in 2025, the best player available in the draft, the best football player available, because they said all these things last year.
I agree.
In 2025, the best football player
I'm looking
probably would have been Travis Hunter. right? Abdul Carter,
Well,
Ashton Genty.
I'm looking.
They did this last year.
They did. Travis Hunter probably would be the best football player.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So how much do we really like it? And of course, Mike Borgonzi's going to say, I'm not trying to be overly critical. Like it's smokescreen season.
So,
Giving a basic, direct answer that you've given in the past to say we are going after the best football player, and then on the last Thursday in April, they're going to sit there in front of a microphone and say, "Yeah, we feel like we took the best football player available, no matter who it is." Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I don't think this is a major hint one way or another.
So I'm looking through last year's 2025 class. Oh, we're up against it.
Yes, we are. Let's do that coming up next. 615-737-1045. Comparing these comments to last year. Well, we'll find what Mike Borgonzi had to say this time last year after this. Ramon Will rolls on, wrapping up hour number 3, 615-737-1045, the number. Let's go back a year, shall we? Mike Borgonzi made comments yesterday at NFL owners' meetings about not passing up on the best player in the draft, saying we are in the position to take the best player in the draft. Last year, Chad Brinker to reporters, quote, "We won't pass on a generational talent with the first pick of the NFL draft. We won't do that." Said they were very early in discussions at that point. This was written January 22nd. Mm-hmm. Mike Borgonzi then, February 25th last year, saying they will keep phone calls close to the vest, saying at the end of the day, we have to make the best decision for the Titans. And if we deem taking a quarterback is the most important thing right now, then we'll do that. But we have to go through this process here. So the combine is like one touch point in the process. Was asked about the generational talent comment. This was at the combine in 2025. He said there's a handful of players anytime that you're at the top of the draft that you would deem generational talents, and we certainly feel that way this year as well. So that was a little less definitive than, hey, we're going to take a generation, we're not going to pass on a generational talent. And then you sell after the fact, you take Cam Ward and say, oh, we believe he's that. And of course they're going to. Why wouldn't they?
You just set yourself up for criticism when you drop that word, generational. I mean, we're talking generational players, Megatron, right? Those are the type of players, Peyton Manning, generational. When you mention that type of conversation, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, pretty much thought they were getting that out of their quarterback as well. Generational to me is now looking at it, Will Anderson. Like, it's a fascinating approach of being able to use that word. Now, best available for your team, it's a totally different conversation. It's a matter of what he spoke about in this article is Easton Freeze for this team and how it's set up. Best available could be, the way we've looked at it, edge, linebacker, running back, or defensive line if you still feel like Ruben Bain is a part of that conversation.
Right, like who's the best football player for you?
Real quick, why am I using my hands to talk on radio?
You always do.
Does Carnell Tate fit that conversation? Because I've seen in our YouTube chat, well, y'all will be shocked when they take Carnell Tate. Is Carnell Tate
I feel like that heated up a little bit last week.
It's heated up? Oh, okay. Now, that's media versus reality.
Exactly.
The same way we spoke
Why
about.
Is it heated up?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we got bored and started talking about other options because there's so much time to fill.
Or you have people that are friends of the same agency that rep you, which is why Dan Orlovsky got eviscerated on social media and still is, by the way.
You made the point, wanted to make the point here in the finish to hour 3 about the best football player discussion and how that pertains to last year's draft. You and I were looking in the break at last year's first-round picks and even second-round picks because the 33rd pick has a claim for this. Who was the best football player in the 2025 NFL draft last year? Wasn't anybody taken in the top 10?
Nope.
It might have been James Pierce Jr., to be honest with you.
It might have been one. Well, one has a stake in the conversation.
Who's that?
Ted McMillan.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Ted.
70 catches for 1,014 yards and 7 touchdowns. And again, you're not drafting these guys to be the best football player as rookies. You're drafting them to be the best football player over the course of their careers in at least 4 to 5 seasons.
For sure.
Carson Schlesinger with Cleveland has a claim.
That's it.
For best football player.
Yeah.
Tyler Warner was really good.
817 yards, only 4 touchdowns.
Huh?
Yeah, but in a rookie season as a tight end.
As a tight end.
You also had Michael Pittman that was there.
No doubt.
A.D. Mitchell was there.
Part of the conversation.
Alec Pierce was 1,000-yard receiver.
He carved his niche in that offense.
The point we're making, though, too, is when you talk about best player in the draft, like when you're drafting in the top 10, you think of these guys as the best players in the draft. The best edge rusher in last year's draft pick got absolutely doubled in sacks by the guy that was picked in the 20th and James Pierce Jr. James Pierce
now got issues.
Yeah, he does.
Part of the reason why he was picked where he was.
James Pierce Jr., based upon last year's best players, is a better player than what Abdul Carter was based off stats.
Well, let's go back a year then, because then we have 2 seasons of sample size. Who's the best player in the 2024 draft?
Best player in the 2020 in that first year or currently?
Overall
right now?
Who's the best football player, regardless of position?
Drake May?
Yes. Correct answer.
Drake May.
Taken 3rd overall.
And
Marvin Harrison Jr. we thought was a can't-miss guy.
Can't miss.
103 catches for 1,493 yards and 12 touchdowns in 29 games in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He was seen by a lot of people as one of the top 2 or 3 best players. Probably, a lot of people would have had him behind Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah, no
as
doubt.
the second best player in the
Easily.
draft, and maybe even some over.
If it wasn't for
Caleb
the quarterback draft, but Malik Neighbors currently is a better wide receiver than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, and he was taking 2 spots lower.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's when you really go back and become a nerd, which we're doing right now about football and the draft picks.
Become a nerd. I've always been a nerd.
I've been one secretly. I'm glad to out myself. No, but another point, case in point about saving your franchise with one player, J.J. McCarthy. What does that look like now? 10th overall pick.
J.J. McCarthy was never seen as close to the best football player in that draft.
Is he done? Yes, I'll answer it for myself. Yes, he is.
I'm not going to say
Murray.
Done yet.
He cooked.
It sounds like he's probably done in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's totally done yet. This
But
early
the
in his career.
stereotypes and conversation around him, though?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the interesting thing about where Borgonzi kind of put things on the table yesterday, saying, we are taking the best football player.
Yeah.
Is it a foregone conclusion that Jeremiah Love is that at 4? We'll talk more about that in hour 4. 615-737-1045. Shifting gears for a couple minutes before we get back into this, because there's a lot more we haven't touched on, and I've got ESPN, PFF, NFL.com big boards that tell you who the best football player is going to be available to the Titans at 4. When we come back, though, Tennessee Pro Day is today. We'll tell you what Austin Price told us earlier this morning about Jermon McCoy and Colton Hood, and who else has the most to gain from Pro Day today in Knoxville after this.
901, good morning, live from the Circus Sports, the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Some NFL news at the owners' meeting in Phoenix, Arizona. Colts general manager Chris Ballard did not rule out quarterback Anthony Richardson, who was the 4th overall draft pick back in 2023, his return in 2026, despite Richardson asking for a trade earlier this year. Ballard said, quote, "We'll see how it works out here over time." The Super Bowl is headed back to Las Vegas in 2029. It was announced yesterday as for 2030, and Nashville's hopes to host. Titans controlling owner Amy Adams Strunk and President and CEO Burke Nihill made an impressive presentation about new Nissan Stadium, according to Peter O'Reilly, the NFL EVP of events, and options are on the table for Nashville to potentially host in 2030 and beyond. The women's Final Four set as their tournament is all chalk. A battle of the one seeds coming up this Friday in Phoenix, Arizona, starting with a juggernaut matchup between South Carolina and UConn, and then Texas will take on UCLA in the late game. Coming up today, Tennessee Vols football have their pro day in Knoxville, including cornerback Jermod McCoy, who's expected to test today for the first time in front of NFL scouts, as he did not test at the NFL Combine last month. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show here on this Tuesday morning. Talking a lot about Mike Borgonzi's comments yesterday at owners' meetings, about Jeremiah Love, about taking the best player available. Well, who is the consensus best player in the draft? Right at the very top. We'll kind of sum that up for you a little bit coming up here in 15 minutes. There's also an interesting piece at ESPN.com about the best fits for some of the top names of the draft, and there is a player on defense that an ESPN writer thinks is best suited to play for the Titans. So we'll do that coming up here in 15 minutes as well. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. Evan and Bank chat open on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Tennessee Pro Day, Ramon. What do you remember about Pro Day in Knoxville?
My entire pre-draft process was a nightmare. It was a twilight zone. It absolutely was. And it took me a while to grasp onto what it was and how it unfolded, to be quite honest with you. If y'all don't know, I had not a great showing. Size-wise, on the charts, I hit everything I was supposed to. 6'6", 328. Hand size good. On wingspan good. My testing at the combine was bad. I ran a 5'5" and a 5'5" and a 5'6". Also, I caught a nosebleed while I was running. Benching at the time was never my thing. I only did, I think, 20 reps on 225, jumped to 26 vertical, 7'9" long jump or something like that. 2-3 cone was good. But it was my 5'10", I think, was solid as well. Short distances is what I specialize in. Well, I've been a heck of a 10-meter sprinter, okay, just so you know.
that event does not exist, but if it did, I'd sign you up for it.
But I'm saying all that to get to this point about my pre-draft experience. My thing was I got a redemption moment. It is my pro day at the University of Tennessee, and I couldn't wait to get to it. What I remember about my pro day, I caught the flu.
Oh, man.
2 days before.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because I was planning on redoing my 40. I checked in at a great weight still. Benching, I knew I wasn't going to get more than like 25. I was probably going to do it, but I was low on energy. I'd never caught the flu a day in my life. Never had the flu. Ever.
Wow.
Had the flu. And this is the most tip-top shape of my entire life because I'm training every day.
Sure.
I'm eating well. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, man. I woke up the day before with like 101 fever. And then I go back to the facility the next day. It was like 101, 1-2 is where I was, and I couldn't perform. I never forget, my teammate and still my homeboy now, Anthony Parker, was the sole offensive lineman that was doing drill work. They worked ends. Oh, Anthony Parker got beat to shreds by the coaches, and that's what I was planning on doing. I was planning on doing the workouts to where they put you on the field, you hit bags. You run, you go side to side. They see more of an intimate movements with yourself as far as the offensive line coaches being there. And they were there. They were there to see me as well. And I had zero energy to do any of the drills. I weighed in, and Johnny Long, who was the strength and conditioning coach at the time, his combine numbers will speak for himself. He has the flu. And that's kind of how mine went. I looked at going undrafted as a curse almost because, of course, I had a child at the time, RJ, and we wanted the money because draft picks get paid. And then I look at it and just honestly just say, man, no matter how you get in, it's a matter of how you stay in. And that was my goal after that. I didn't get a performance. Did not get a performance, man.
That's crazy.
No, Will, crushed.
I believe it.
Crushed.
Totally believe it.
And then to go undrafted too as a result of my testing was it's not a hard pill anymore, but I appreciate the process of what these guys go through.
Jahmyr McCoy has a really big day today.
The biggest.
The largest. Austin Price seemed to mention earlier this morning with us that he is expected to run. It sounds like he needs to run, Ramon.
He has to. We had Brian McFadden on last week, and that was the one
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Something like that.
Brian McFadden of CBS Sports, former college DB and NFL Super Bowl champ as well. He brought it up about Jahmyr. Like, everybody loves his size. Everybody watched what he's done. Last game he played in college was the Ohio State game, and I think wasn't much given on his side, too, as well. From Carnell Tate, that is. He has to run well.
Austin Price, you asked him about it earlier this morning, had this to say ahead of Tennessee Pro Day today.
I'm going to stick with you go outside the box and say Josh Josephs. And if Hubbs was here, I think he actually may say Josh Josephs because Josephs did not do anything at the combine, all that stuff. Now, I would tell you that you're looking at the secondary. Jahmyr McCoy, providing he runs and tests and all that today, like he's supposed to be, to me has the most to gain because he's the one nobody has been able to see. So where's he at in the recovery process? Like everybody, it's a bit of a mystery with him. And then I would tell you Colton Hood, who told me 2 days ago he will run. He thinks he can improve on his 4.44 40 time and believes he can get in the 4.3s. And, I think, you've seen some posturing, well, is he dropping? Is he not dropping? Could he drop out of the first round? All that. I think he wants to solidify himself as a first rounder today. He's already met with a handful of NFL teams, has plans to meet with a handful more. Now, if you want to go outside the box, I think Jalen McMurray can be the guy that comes out of pro day with some buzz to him if he can run fast enough. Because I think there's some moxie to his game, and I think potentially is someone who could be a steal for an NFL team. If he runs well enough today, I think that's where things can really start to, change for Jalen McMurray, who was not invited to the combine.
It's Austin Price with us earlier this morning. A lot of nuggets you get in our visit with Austin today, wherever you download podcasts. But Jalen McMurray is one I didn't think of, but as soon as he said it was kind of like, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, Senior Bowl guy, Jalen McMurray, who made a point to play in the bowl game against Illinois. And I know that's a small thing, but I'll always respect him for that and going out and using every opportunity he had to put good film out there.
I actually think he's going to have a good opportunity, to be quite honest with you, too.
I think he'll stick somewhere.
I knew dudes that did not get the combine invite as well. Mike Mitchell was famously one of those type of guys out of Ohio University. I trained with him in Cincinnati when I was coming out. Mike didn't get an invite. We had a guy at the time that was a wide receiver from Indiana, of all places, got a combine invite, went to the combine and chose he was done with football at the combine. And Mike Mitchell, I'll never forget, he was just livid about it. And Mike ended up running a 4.3, and that was in the Al Davis speed era at safety. And Al Davis was drafting for speed, and Mike went in the second round out of Ohio University.
They love an athlete.
But the Jalen McMurray side of this, too, hits home. Like, he goes and plays or tests well. I mean, eyes will be up on him, too. The Vols have another DB that was undrafted, play for the Rams recently.
Emmanuel Mosley
he
kind of stuck a little bit.
He did, and has been playing well. I think there's another one out there with the Rams. So
It is.
God, dog it.
No. Hold on. It's right on the tip of my tongue. He's a Ram, too.
He is a Ram.
Jalen McCullough.
That's who. Jalen McCullough. Who's carved out a pathway for himself in the
Jalen
NFL.
McCullough. That one took all my brain power, but we got there eventually.
You generated that brain machine real quick. Man, I'm proud of you, dog.
Sometimes I'll look on the very fast desktop in front of us. That was just close my eyes and go into the desktop that's in my cranium.
Yeah. But Jalen McCullough has been a part of that as well. And that's the way I look at him, too. Like, just show. That was what I wanted to do on my pro day was I got to test. I have to test, and I couldn't. I wasn't able to.
It's interesting how so many Tennessee DBs that weren't supposed to be incredible pros have been pretty good. Like, I think back to Justin Coleman when he came out.
Yeah.
Had a really solid NFL career. Cam Sutton. Really solid NFL career, one of your old teammates. Emmanuel Mosley is another one. Alante Taylor, obviously getting the contract that he's gotten here. Jalen McCullough being another one. There's been a solid amount of Tennessee corners, a lot of them coached by Willie Martinez, too, who have been pretty good as pros. Better than they were even in college sometimes, if you read public opinion.
It's such a tricky thing with that, too. Because I most definitely look at myself. I was a better pro player than I was college player. And, of course, I had more time to sharpen my skills and spent more time in the NFL than I did in college as well. But that is always the process. That's what I'm teaching my boys right now. And I said that in our YouTube chat just now, too. I never am, like, excited about a person's start to their career. I'm all about what do you do to stay in to sustain your career as well. Because we just looked at even last year's draft. Right? Or 2 years ago draft for the NFL. Some of these guys are first round picks, and next thing you know, you don't hear about them.
And I think for some people with the money you get, that's so different in the NFL.
Yeah.
The draft feels like the end of the process, where you want it to be the beginning of the process.
It's true. That's a great way to summarize.
I mean, even just on a smaller scale, going from being a high school athlete to a college athlete, you get all the gear, you get all the perks, you get all of the different lifestyle changes you've got to make. For some people, just becoming a college athlete, that is the pinnacle. And the work stops. It did for me a little bit. Like I had such a big goal of being a Tennessee athlete that when I finally achieved it, I was like, I was the dog that caught the car.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what now?
It's
oh wow, I'm really not very good at this. All right, let me go do something else.
You stupid.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, you are the best example of the draft being the beginning and not the end. And that not being a moment that defines you. And it did not define your career by any stretch of the imagination. You lasted 11 years with a winning organization, and you won a lot of football games in the process, and you never had a losing season on a team that you were on one singular time in the NFL in 11 years, and you started for the vast, vast majority of those.
150-plus starts. But yeah, it's
incredible.
It goes to why I'm hesitant to give a whole big praise the first year. Like, judging Cam's career so far, Cam Ward, like, yeah, there's growth to it. That's why I think we've both inherited, Will, the 3-year theory with pros. See what they are by year 3.
Commenter on YouTube says, draft Logan Jones, protect your greatest asset. I love that we've just attached ourselves to an Iowa center for no other reason than the fact that he's an Iowa center.
Yeah, I love it, man.
I love that for us.
This is where we are.
I love that. I mean, there are worse options. I like Logan Jones.
No doubt.
Sam Hecht is a good option. Jake Slaughter is a good option.
Slaughter is.
Jagger Burton, a good option. And that's just at center.
And we're talking about interior offensive linemen at that.
Absolutely. Draft Logan Jones, protect your greatest asset. Okay. I don't think there are a lot of fan bases that are out there on March 31st just advocating for day 3 centers. But I'm so glad to be a part of a market where we have one of those.
They get ball
love you guys.
now. They get ball now.
Oh, absolutely, you guys do. Absolutely. I wonder how many YouTube chats of radio shows around the 32 NFL cities are talking about day 3 center options.
3 center options.
I'm sure there are some that are.
6'3".
I just love that for us.
299.
And I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm not even talking down anybody. I love that for us.
No doubt about it.
Coming up, who's the best player in the draft? Mike Borgonzi says we are taking the best football player. I'll tell you where 3 different outlets rank the top 3 players, regardless of position, in the 2026 NFL draft after this. Ramon Will rolls on, hour number 4 of the program. Thanks for stopping by. Tomorrow, you get a chance to stop by and see us in person. We're out and about with the people tomorrow, Ramon.
I know, as petty as I am about we never get to go anywhere ourselves, I can't forget tomorrow that we're actually going somewhere.
I'm excited to see people tomorrow.
You rolling too?
No.
What do you... You're not going to see anyone in here.
I never get invited. I'll see Zach. I'll be with Zach.
Everybody else's producer get to go but ours.
Yeah.
I got to go talk to management.
I know, right?
You have Zach back there with you. He's been hanging out.
Yeah.
Zach, you don't speak up.
Can we put Zach on air for a second? Zach, how's it going? How have you been enjoying it back there?
Oh, he doesn't have headphones. He can't hear.
Oh, J-Hawk, give him your headphones.
Goodness sakes.
Come on, Zach.
How we doing? Welcome.
I'm good. Happy to be here. What's
Happy
going
to
on?
be here.
Introduce yourself to the people. Name and a fun fact.
I got him right here. Name, where you from, round you was drafted, and signing bonus.
Zach Kroll. I'm from Long Island, New York. And a fun fact, I can name all the presidents.
Oh my gosh.
Are you serious?
In order. Wait, how quickly can you do it?
I've never timed myself, but I could say in under a minute.
In under a minute.
I mean, do you want to put you on the spot?
I feel
You
like
do it right now?
to, Zach. You can't just say that. And
Yeah,
not
right.
prove it.
I gotta hear it.
Even the doubles?
There's only a few, so yeah, I think I could do it.
He even knows it.
All right.
It's only a few.
Do you want to do it right now?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. Hold up. Let me get my clock going.
Take bets on over-unders.
Yeah. Whenever you are
I'll give you a minute 25 is my guess.
I'll go 140.
Okay. All right, let's hear it. Let's go ahead.
3, 2, go.
George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe,
jokes.
John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James Garfield, Chester Arthur, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, Grover Cleveland, William McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt, William Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Warren Harding, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, FDR, Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, John Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Donald Trump.
Wow.
54 seconds.
That was amazing. 54 seconds is awesome.
Hey.
That is such a great fun fact and party trick. Good job, Zach.
The reason is cool because by the time we leave elementary, middle school, who's actually retaining that? Are you like...
why and when did you learn how to do this?
So my memory, like when it comes to things I'm actually interested in, is really good.
Oh.
And I promise, I'm not trying to show off.
No, we don't want you to show off. We asked you to do it.
But like, I think a lot of not a lot of people, but like some people could name them like I just did. But the thing about me is I think I could still do it. If you give me a number, 1 to 47, I think I could tell you what number that was.
Get the heck out of here. So you're like Mike off of Suits. Have you ever seen Suits? You hadn't seen Suits? Mike's is like photographic, like he can just look at a book and remember stuff. Like when you're interested, pretty much you're telling me you're like Mike from Suits.
Okay, who was the 14th president?
Franklin Pierce.
Dang, that's incredible.
Don't even ask him anymore.
Back it up.
The legend.
Back it up. If you can pull Franklin Pierce out of the back of your head, that's crazy.
John sell meta glasses. You ain't even got glasses on right now.
No, that's right.
Get the heck out of here. Zach, you never disclose any of these things.
That's incredible.
Yeah, somebody just asked, are you going to go on Jeopardy? Would you?
I wish I was that smart. I don't.
No.
You can't just, you threw out Franklin Pierce just out of nothing. Of course you're that smart. That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you, Zach. Welcome.
Zach, this is just open up a new channel for me now.
Yeah, this is,
at this point.
You know what that knowledge is, Ramon?
The research department?
It's unprecedented.
That was good.
And that's what I bring to the table. It's significantly less impressive.
I'll allow it. As impressive as that was, I'm allowing all things right now.
Justin took the headphones back as soon as I said that.
Mike, don't show me.
This is the impact you have on Will.
Give me a number.
Thank you.
Hey, 54 seconds?
Hey, that's incredible.
And that's just the first run.
Under a minute.
You put him on the line again. Like, he gets to run another 40 after this or another 50.
Yeah, that was the combine. Next will be pro day. All right. Let's get back to what we were going to
else can we do now?
actually talk about.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore. Oh, prospects.
Yeah. Who's the best one?
Zach, do you want to chime in? Yeah. Who's the best
Franklin
athlete
Pierce.
then? Okay, do we
Zachary Taylor.
Who's the best athlete
Athlete of
presidents?
Oh.
Who's the best athlete in terms of presidents?
It's a very subjective question.
I know it is.
I think that's
but
factual.
I feel like we got to know it.
This is off script.
It is.
35.
35?
John Kennedy.
John Kennedy. Okay. JFK.
Okay.
I know my numbers.
That was impressive. I'm going to be real with you, Zach.
It was very
I'm
impressive.
here for more of that whenever you
Very
get an
impressive.
opportunity.
So Mike Borgonzi yesterday at owners meeting says that the Titans want to take the best player available. Says, I would say where we're at, we're taking the best player available. Everybody has different opinions on positional value. And when pressed one final time by Easton Free, he says, we're taking the best football player. So I've gone through and found where 3 different outlets rank the top 3 players in this draft, Ramon. Let's start with Daniel Jeremiah at NFL.com. What?
Nothing. I had the hiccups right there.
Okay. I
That
thought you were
was-
laughing.
No, Babs is confused. She's like, who the heck is Zach? We got to introduce you to Don Davenport, by the way. You not here after 12, mostly?
No,
Zach?
he's only done our show and Buck show.
Okay, all right. That's why, Babs, you don't know him.
Okay.
We'll have to introduce
not
him to
good enough
Don
yet.
Davenport.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Not good enough yet.
Well, it's Ramon and Will versus the afternoon show, isn't it?
Well,
No,
Zach,
it's not. It's you against the afternoon show.
See, now Savage is in
Don't
the
you put
chat.
that evil on me.
Savage is in the
It's
chat.
Justin Hawkins against 3HL, not Ramona Will against 3HL.
I'm about to let him have it now.
When I first started on this show, I tried to pick a petty fight with them, and I'll never do it again.
You did.
I don't know. No. I'm locking arms with them on Red Rover, and we're sending Justin right over. I'm not the one running through those arms. No.
He said he might have a bad knee, but
That is
their
a bad
upper
side.
bodies is good.
That is a bad side I will never get on.
Hey, Savage said,
This is a pro 3HL radio program.
Hawk, don't get jealous, dog. Give Rain Man the mic and head. Don't be dogging our substitute
Rain Man
producer.
is
Do you
crazy.
hear me? Absolutely not. Rain Man was a beautiful movie, by the way, too. You hear me? I can't believe that. Hey, anytime, Zach. Anytime, baby, chime in.
I love it. All right. Where were we?
Look at Savage.
Daniel Jeremiah at NFL.com. Slay's very happy with that. Thank you. Listen, I already subjected you all to cricket because I wasn't talking about basketball. I can't do any worse. Daniel Jeremiah has Fernando Mendoza as the best player available in the draft. So does PFF.
Overall, people are questioning. I had an intense text message conversation among some football minds about Fernando Mendoza versus Ty Simpson.
Okay.
Fernando,
Was it Dan Orlovsky? Was he one of the football minds?
he was not one of the
Or any
football
other
minds.
CAA clients involved?
I'll have to ask. It was Rob Ayers. I have to bring him on back on Thursday. He's a great football mind when it come down to this stuff. But when you mention best overall player, look at what you're asking Fernando Mendoza to do. This is the season of lies, I must admit, and this is also where we do more critical thinking than we do praising at this time of the year. What was he asked to do, Fernando Mendoza? When you look at this team, the way it was built, how they built it, and defensively, how they brought it together. I will say in the, second round game, if I'm not mistaken, the pass he threw to us, second, before the national championship against Texas Tech. Golly, I forget the pass. But he hit a dagger to one of his best wide receivers.
He did that all season. He did it against Ohio State, too, in the Big Ten championship game.
He knew how to throw the ball, is what I would say.
Yeah.
But when you look at
Make all the throws.
what you were asking him to do, he, to be quite honest with you, is Tom Brady-like. Tom Brady was a system expert.
I think he's Joe Burrow-like.
You think he's Joey B? I think
In
Joe
the way
got,
that Joe exploded from first-round potential talent to this is the bona fide number one overall pick and put up video game numbers in the process en route to a national championship against a lot of really good teams on the way. Like that, I think, is the most recent comp for what Fernando Mendoza has done.
It was Elijah Surratt. That's the wide receiver I'm thinking of. He hit in like a gotta-have-it moment.
And Charlie Becker.
B.
Charlie B from Nashville, Tennessee.
And I say that not out of the diss to Tom Brady because he's the greatest to ever do it, or a diss to Fernando Mendoza, but the system in which Tom Brady mastered between him and Bill Belichick, and then he took that system to Tampa, and everything is a matter of timing, inches, and perfection.
Sure.
That's where I think Fernando Mendoza was very good with Indiana.
ESPN has a consensus draft ranking of all of their draft people that came out earlier this month. Their consensus rankings has Fernando Mendoza the second best player in the draft.
Behind
Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, makes sense.
Of all of these three lists, PFF's big board, Daniel Jeremiah's big board at NFL.com, and the ESPN consensus big board of their writers, there are 4 players among these 3 rankings. Sonny Styles only pops up on one of these boards as Daniel Jeremiah's number 3 overall player at NFL.com. He says Styles is a tall, long, and rangy prospect. He made a smooth transition from safety to linebacker during his college career and put on an epic display at the Combine. In the run game, he's quick to key, read, and fill to make tackles. He uses his length to press off blocks and has outstanding lateral range to pick up production on the perimeter. He's a firm, reliable tackler with stopping power on contact. He's outstanding in coverage, can carry slot receivers down the seam, and smoothly mirrors tight ends all over the field. Goes on to say more about performance against Indiana, answered any questions about his game, says he was the best defender on the field in that matchup. Yeah. Daniel Jeremiah writes, he reminds me of Fred Warner as a player. It's hard to find prospects with Styles' combination of speed, athleticism, and instincts. PFF does not have him in their top 3. Neither does ESPN. But that's the one analyst that have Sonny Styles as a top 3 player.
Can I say something real quick, though?
You can say whatever you want.
ESPN's ratings, to me, are just, I feel like, more flawed than almost anybody else's.
So that is part of the reason why I went to the consensus of all the ESPN writers.
Okay.
Because it does feel like Mel Kiper has some hot takes. Feels like sometimes Matt Miller can say some things that are a little bit outside the box. Not necessarily wrong, just different.
True.
Certainly not groupthink, which is why I take the consensus ESPN board for this exercise.
I was just going to say, even with their high school ratings, them versus Rivals or 247 or anybody else on 3, it's far
a little
different.
That's a little different of a process because ESPN doesn't have the amount of scouts for high school recruiting as On 3 or Rivals or however you want to call it, or 247 does. They just don't have as many people out watching players. Mm-hmm. For NFL draft stuff, they have as many resources as anyone. So it's just different.
It is.
Different departments, different offices, and things like that. Number 2 on Daniel Jeremiah's board, behind again Fernando Mendoza, who at PFF and NFL.com are the number 1 players, or is the number 1 player on this entire draft. Daniel Jeremiah has Jeremiah Love, saying he is a dynamic weapon as a runner and receiver. On inside runs, he runs high and narrow, but he explodes to and through the hole. He will drop a level lower on contact and has the lower leg drive to bounce off defenders. He doesn't always let things develop because he can get skinny through narrow passages. He has elite speed on outside runs to capture the corner and take it the distance, a rare ability to make defenders miss without gearing down. His spin move is electric. In the pass game, he can run routes like a wideout. He's smooth, polished, and natural. He plucks the ball effortlessly. In pass protection, he's both aware and willing, but he's best utilized out on the route. Overall, Jeremiah Love, this is what excites me. Jeremiah Love is a home run hitter and will immediately expand the playbook for his drafting team. I love the idea of the playbook expanding for Game Ward.
Well, that pretty much sums it up because if you look at the way it was reported on Brian Dable clamoring over Cam Scatterboo and what he can mean for his offense, it's got to be the same conversation.
I agree. It's just a better version.
Not saying it is definite.
No, but it makes sense for a number of reasons. Yeah. Considering what their free agent moves were, considering the offense Dable wants to run, considering the offense Dable just ran with a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back, in Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart, could it be a rookie running back and a second-year quarterback? So PFF's 1 through 3 is Fernando Mendoza 1 on their big board, Arvell Reese is 2, and Jeremiah Love is 3. Daniel Jeremiah at NFL.com has Fernando Mendoza as his number 1 overall prospect, Jeremiah Love as his number 2, Sonny Styles as his 3. In the consensus of all the ESPN analysts, that's Field Yates, Jordan Reed, Matt Miller, Mel Kiper, has Jeremiah Love as their number 1 player, Fernando Mendoza as their number 2 player, and Arvell Reese as their number 3.
It's fascinating, though, too, because you have this conversation. And I know team needs is one thing, but I feel like when you draft, and sometimes you do take best available, and the fact that Jeremiah Love could get to 4 and not go top 3 is interesting on how the draft paints his own pictures.
In the way that teams have decided to paint their own pictures of who's already in their running back room as it is.
Yeah.
Because the Jets have Breece Hall, and the Arizona Cardinals decided to address running back in free agency versus in the draft. And the Cardinals have James Conner, and they signed Tyler Algier and Bam Knight, along with Trey Benson.
But you know the other part, though, too, about that Jets situation is Breece Hall's on an expiring contract.
Yeah. They kept him around on the tag.
Yeah, you can. What my point is, like, you can just go ahead and get his replacement, get 1 year, and have a dynamic setup like that.
They have more needs
Yeah,
in New
they
York
do.
than what the Titans do
Most definitely.
at 4.
But if
They're a year behind the Titans.
But if we're taking the small micro size of like, hey, this is the best 3 guys in the draft, why wouldn't they take them? It's need, of course, but the top 3 you would think would go 1, 2, 3. And that ain't the way you build a team, though.
Yeah, I think the Titans are in a better position to take a running back than the Jets or the Cardinals because they already have them. Titans already have one too, but it's a different level of back that Breece Hall is versus what the Titans have had. The on-field production of Breece Hall outweighs what Tony Pollard has been in a Titans uniform. That's no disrespect to Tony. It's a credit to Breece.
That's how it kind of goes.
Yeah, it's just the reality. Like, Breece Hall's better.
Are you taking Cam or Fernando Mendoza in the same draft? Or Cam?
Great question.
Because it was a one-man show last year. Jackson Dart found his way into the first round. But that is a fascinating approach right there, is one versus the other.
I think you'd probably have Mendoza a tick above Cam in terms of just overall prospect rankings.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been fascinating if there was a 2-man race on how this would have unfolded.
You know what's fascinating is how close the Titans were to having the number 1 pick if Amari DiMercato doesn't fumble out of the back of the end zone when the Titans beat the Cardinals. Like, we're close to having trade discussions and having, like, do you draft Fernando Mendoza discussions?
No, for real.
Would have been a very different offseason around here, wouldn't it?
Interesting offseason.
And you'd have probably 3 firsts. Again, like, it worked out. Yeah. I think it will work out because I think the Titans are going to have a good player to pick at 4. And I liked the growth that Cam Ward showed in that football game. Like, that was a moment for Cam.
It was.
It's a moment to point back at and say, we got our guy. I don't know.
And you can make your guy successful, too.
It's just crazy how close it was.
Yeah. We got 2 responses. Cam all day, Cam all day.
Well, of course. I mean, look.
Cam, we don't need another Mario.
Cam Ward is beloved in this town, and that's great. And I do think that Fernando Mendoza is not the level of prospect that Joe Burrow was. I don't think he's quite a slam dunk the way Joe was. Their seasons as seniors just remind me of each other a little bit, just when you look at the production and you look at the championship
Beautiful
and all those
script.
things. Yeah, for sure. I do think there are things you can't teach with Cam, mentality-wise, leadership-wise, personality-wise, that he has that Fernando doesn't, that I do like more about Cam. I'm interested to see how Fernando Mendoza is going to work in an NFL locker room.
If he's, well, like I said, it's the Tom Brady approach to what I think about Fernando Mendoza. They'll, in my opinion, protect him in every possible way, and I mean offensively.
That's a very pure individual going to a very unpure city in Las Vegas.
Sin City, baby. I wonder how much hands-on would Tom be. Is Tom coaching?
I don't know. I think there are probably rules against that, right?
He's playing flag football.
Well, right, but
I mean, he can technically
that's
still
not
be a
coaching
trainer.
the Raiders.
But I mean, I do work around the NFL too. I can train or communicate with offensive linemen.
You don't own a team.
But he's still.
I don't know.
I mean, there are two sides. There's 2 layers to what Tom's got going on because the former player in him has to be able to reach back.
There's 20 layers to what Tom's got going on.
That's very true too.
Coming up, an ESPN writer says there is one player as a first-round prospect whose best team fit is the Titans. We'll tell you who and why next. Wrapping up the show on Ramon and Will. Coming up tomorrow morning from Titans House. You'll be able to hang out with us, broadcasting all day from Titans House. I just realized we mentioned we were going to be out tomorrow, and we never said where. 104.5 The Zone's broadcasting live all day from the Titans open house at Titans House. Experience the future of game day with an exclusive look at Titans House, the new Nissan Stadium Experience Center. You can enjoy food, drinks, special guests, and more. How about this, Ramon? Purchase a PSL at the event and receive a new jersey as a gift.
Hey.
And we're not talking about the state. We're talking about a new jersey.
Hey.
For more information, visit 1045thezone.com/events.
Where do you get these lip jokes from?
From my brain that works unlike most people. And I don't mean that in a good way.
Where you get all this from? What?
Do not mean that in a good way.
No, you did not.
I'm going to send some audio to Justin real quick in our Slack because Robert Saleh is addressing the media right now at owners' meetings. It was just asked about Jeremiah Love compared to the top 3 edge rushers. That's the audio we'd like to have. I've not heard it yet.
Most definitely is.
While we are efforting that, I will tell you that Matt Bowen has a piece this morning at ESPN.com. Favorite team fits for 20 top prospects. And Sonny Styles is the best fit for, or let me frame it this way. Sonny Styles' best fit is the Titans. Matt Bowen says this would be a great first pick for new coach Robert Saleh, giving him a rare stack linebacker, inside linebacker, or 4-3 outside linebacker with high-level testing numbers. Styles' 43.5-inch vertical jump at the combine was the highest by an off-ball linebacker since 2003, and the second highest by any linebacker in that span. Styles will show up in the box and on the edges of the formation as a run defender. He can fire into blockers to hold the point or scrape through to track the ball with his 4.46 speed. Plus, in Saleh's loaded fronts, Styles can be schemed as a blitzer or fall back late in coverage. Despite his large frame, he can play the hook to curl or carry the seams. There's big-time upside here for a linebacker who can develop into the Fred Warner role under Saleh.
I'm not trying to be right, okay? I'm just not trying to be right about this Sonny Styles thing. I'm just trying to condition you guys that you will love Sonny just the same as you would Jeremiah Love. Listen, I know ball. This is one of those things that just makes perfect sense, man. I'm bragging a little bit on this one. It's just more and more people come out the woodworks, and I must say I was the first one in line on this one.
You were the first one in line.
I'm just saying.
I will give you that.
I might be wrong, though, too.
Matt Bowen has Jeremiah Love's best fit as the Commanders, saying Love could go as high as 4 to Tennessee, but for this exercise, the former Notre Dame star fits in Washington. Brings more balance to the call sheet, a scheme-transcendent player, Jeremiah Love, as a runner and will maximize his traits as a receiver, similar to how Jahmyr Gibbs is used in Detroit. Love had 39 rushes of 10 or more yards last season, 6th most in the country. His volume as a pass catcher could expand, slotting into the lead role with free agent Rachaad White also seeing touches in Washington. Here is Robert Saleh about Jeremiah Love against the top 3 edge rushers, courtesy of A to C Sports.
I think when you look at all the different game changers that are at the top of the draft, whether it's the 3 big pass rushers that everyone talks about or Jeremiah, like they can all change a game in one play, and so they're impactful players.
Okay. All impactful players can change the game in their own way.
One play. I thought he said one play. One. Okay.
Well, that too.
Yeah. I really want to look at and see how they really do this draft. First and second round is going to be fascinating. If they go defense, offense, offense, or offense. I just wanted to say that real iteration.
Yeah, you're just saying it fast.
I just wanted to.
Sure.
That's all. Don't mind me.
Other best fits in here, Colton Hood to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
His best fit,
see that,
according to Matt Bowen. He's got Ty Simpson to Arizona, but at pick 34, not 3. No other Titans best fits listed here.
I just saw on PFF also a best fit, best free agent that's left, Joey Bosa.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
That would take David Bailey off the books.
Yeah, I'd say so. Buck Rising Show next. Lucas Panzica and Robert Walsh are present and accounted for.
Pan man.
We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Join us at Titans House. A free jersey with a PSL. How about that? A New Jersey and not the state, Ramon.
No doubt, but must remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.